boys and girls, everybody from all around the world. Hello and welcome to another episode of The Worshiper with me, your host, Jean-Luc Welch. Let's make some noise. Let's clap it up. Get excited wherever you are, in your car, on your job, at your work, wherever you may be. We're here and we're excited to have you on our Friday edition, where it's the championship rounds of our show. That means the whole of the show. You all control the conversation. You all control the narrative. You all control your debates, your conversations, and all of your endeavors of observation. You can bring it to us, have it for the world to see on display, and we can talk about it right here with you all on this show. We got a lot that we're going to be able to cover, like with Haney and Shakur. Piggybacking off of the news that was dropping yesterday from like some chatters down below. Now we gotta ask, is it real or is it not? With now the Boxing Voice reporting that that deal with Zuffa, Devin Haney, and Shakur for a mega fight may just be a real thing. Hypothetically, we also got some news on Shakur's side of the spectrum with whether or not this is real or not. Also, we got to talk about Ben Rodriguez and how Jesse Rodriguez can potentially be a future GOAT in this sport and how he can take the reins as he's only 24 years old. Very quickly, as the next, not just big thing, but straight up the thing in boxing as the years keep on trekking along, as well as with more stuff around the whole of the boxing world. We will be talking about and discussing and the sports essentially ethos as a whole. But please, if you're tuning in, hey, welcome to the show. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Come on, be a part of the hottest show in all the globe and join the empire with us on today. Hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you know whenever we post right here on YouTube. Also be sure to rate us 5 stars on every podcasting platform imaginable. Wherever you listen to podcasts, Apple, Spotify, you name it, we're there. And if we're not, tell us, we will get there absolutely. And be sure to do the most important thing, which is to like the stream. Hit the like button to make sure the algorithm sees we got the best show on all the globe, and let everybody see what we got going on. As well as, please be sure to share the show with everybody that you know so we can keep on building up this empire together. With you and your support, we can make this thing grow bigger, better, and stronger, all with you at the helm with us on today. No question about it. Also, we're trying to see why the world we're dropping frames a little bit on our stream right now. Hold on a second. That shouldn't be the case. Give me one moment. Let me try to make sure everything's on the up and up. So we have indeed everything that we're supposed to when it comes to the quality of this show looking like it's supposed to. But either way, we got a whole bunch of show to cover. We got a lot of stuff to talk about, and we have your voice to hear and your comments and your opinions and all your takes to respond to. So ladies and gentlemen, we got boxing to cover. We got sports to delve into. We have an entertaining show to get on with, and it's time to step into the ring, and it's also time for the championship rounds. Yes, sir. Come on. Let's get it started. Ring the bell. Let's get it going. Round 1 of this show going underway, and the whole show again is driven by you all. And we're going to continue with the first topic of this show with a thing that we had discussed yesterday, and that is Devin Haney versus Shakur. Hey, is this thing actually scheduled to go down this year with Zuffa? Yeah, we gotta talk about it. We gotta really ask about it, because what we thought was a very concerning, confusing, and unpredictable situation that we were witnessing yesterday. In terms of news that broke, or we had some people come into the chat. I believe it was Matt Borgson who came in and said, hey, we gonna see Shakur Devin happen this year on Zuffa, and he's agreed to a deal. I was like, wait a minute, pump the brakes. Are we sure this is the case? That's a lofty sentiment, especially with the understood nature of what we have with Zuffa boxing as a whole, and the concern of Devin Haney already being a star that he is. Does he need somebody like Zuffa in the first place to even have to sign for a fight with Shakur Stevenson? That was the concern. But now, Boxing Voice is also reporting that they are seeing or hearing big time rumors that that fight can actually take place between two of some of the most technical savants in all of boxing, having the opportunity to go back to back against each other and really have a war of not just words, but a war of essentially technical prowess, the quality, the ability, the sniper-like mentality, and what would be an all-defensive affair between two of some of the best technicians in all of boxing. That is what is on the line. And I said we should wait. I said we should hold up. I said we should give it a chance to breathe before we straight up jump into the foray. Yeah, this is going to happen on this, because there's a lot of moving parts. But let's look at this now as essentially asking the question, with what we have today, is this something that can be a real thing? Is this a valid thing that we can see transpire? And as of right now, I'm leaning towards no, under Zuffa, but yes, under somebody else. The reason why is because we had Shakur Stevenson himself come out and essentially say over social media, hey, all the stuff that you talk about when it comes to working with these two fighters and making a deal, Shakur was essentially saying, hey, look, all that stuff, don't let the noise fool you. Everything that's going on is made up. Now, if you haven't seen right here, this is reported by a couple people and by Neji, who's another prominent boxing, prominent boxing media platform, that's what it is, who reports on a lot of things, especially in regards to the likes of Devin Haney. He had posted this clip on, or this picture on social media, referencing, hey, Boxing Voice had put this up. Also, Pound for Pound, another boxing channel or boxing social media platform on Twitter, also put out the same thing, that, hey, boxing scene, Boxing Voice, they putting out stuff may be going down. Shakur's response to all of this stuff was essentially, yeah, y'all got stuff messed up. Because don't believe all the rumors, stuff ain't real. I am not sold that if it's under Zuffa, they would get that fight done. I'm not sold right now, even though it would track with the 2 or 3 fight deal. Also, I found the very clip of Greg Hatchett, who was brought up early. We couldn't find any of the information. Now we got the information right here from YSN Media in regards to him reacting to the news of potentially this fight actually going down. And we play the first minute, 30 seconds, because that kind of tells the whole synopsis of it. It's a 3-minute clip, so we ain't going to play the whole thing. But its first minute or minute and a half should answer or echoed some of the similar sentiments that was said when we couldn't find anything on what Greg Hatchett was talking about when it comes to does stuff make sense, not make sense, when it comes to Devin Haney taking this fight or not. And I'll let him tell you right here.
That there's a possibility.
Y'all can't hear, my apologies. Hold on one second.
that Devin Haney could.
Y'all still can't hear. Hold on a minute. What's going on? There we go. Okay, we should be working now. This is Greg Hatchett talking about what he feels may happen with this whole Devin Haney and Shakur situation.
That there's a possibility that Devin Haney could be going to Zuffa Boxing, signing with them. Debo.
Yeah?
Yeah.
But if you watch how Bill and them move in the past, they venture out. They gonna go see at least what y'all talking about. So I wouldn't be like against that, and I wouldn't act like, oh, that's a big surprise, because that's how they move. They gonna do 2 here, they gonna do 3 here, they gonna do 2 here, 1 here. That's how they move around. We trying to see who got it popping. So I would expect that for them for 1 or 2 fights, because I know what they gonna do after that. They out of there. They never gonna sign a lifetime deal with somebody. You feel me? Or they're not gonna put themselves in a situation that'll have them in a lifetime deal with somebody. You know what I'm saying? So I could see them, and plus the way they trying to dry them out, I could see that happening, them sliding over there real quick.
There's been a couple of fights that it was looking like that Dev could get. I don't know what happened with him. We thought Keyshawn was a thing. The Ryan rematch would be a thing. Roley would be a thing. Lewis Crocker. But it seems like all of those fell through. we know Africa just signed over there? Does that make sense? Africa or Conor next?
And that's why I'm saying that. With Conor Ben being over there, Conor Ben was at the fight with Norman and Haney, right? Conor Ben would call himself looking at Dev. Okay, so that's a possible joint. After going over there and saying that he moving up, possible joints. So that's what I'm saying. If Dev go over there, I can see that happening, possible joints, because those are just good fights. But I can also see him getting up out of there after that. I mean, that's just how they do it.
So understand, this goes back to what we said yesterday with all the skepticism. And it tracks. I get it. And we brought this up as well. He signs 1-2 fight deals, normal thing, like we see Matt Borgeson bring up, and then goes through into that. We out here. Doesn't want to get tied down? We'll never probably get tied down. I just don't think on the other side of the spectrum, with credit to what Greg Hatchett is saying, cool, fine, I can concede that, like we talked about yesterday. But on Shakur's end, will he even want to work with Zuffa in the first place, let alone in a situation where, again, the belts are a question? This fight is a fight that is going to happen. I almost guarantee. I'm so confident we're going to see them throw down. At some way or another, some way, somehow, we're going to get Shakur and Devin Haney going up against each other. It's going to happen. Whatever needs to take place will take place. We're going to see that fight. One way or another, we will see that fight. And since we will, whose banner is going to be under, I just have the sneaky suspicion that it won't be under Zuffa. And walking with how we've seen other people work, Shakur versus Devin, most likely, even though they got a bunch of money, even though they would have a bunch of ties, even though it would be that Devin versus Shakur, everything life-changing money reportedly on both ends of the spectrum. I think the viewpoint of what they want, Zuffa just may not align. May not. Now, if it does happen, great, cool. We get to see it, and everything we said yesterday can pan out. I just am doubtful. And again, let me show you the clip. Let me show you the tweet, that we had seen from the likes of Shakur Stevenson when it came to him. Where's it? He's here somewhere. Hold on. I'm bringing it up. I'm pulling it up now. It's just taking a minute. I don't know what's going on with my internet. It's getting it's mighty ain't what I thought it was gonna be. Either way, here we go. I'll show you the clip. Nonetheless, as you change this over in the picture. Hey, you can see right here. Shakur Stevenson, an hour ago today. Because mind you, a lot of this stuff, video-wise and tangible evidence-wise, came out a couple hours ago. 1 hour ago at 12:52, Shakur now saying, don't believe the false rumors. They making stuff up. Now, he didn't use, stuff, but you get what I'm saying. All this stuff in reference to attaching himself or separating himself from this whole Zuffa, Devin Haney situation. And remember, yesterday we also said, if Devin Haney was going to say something about it being false, he would have brought up about it. If he would have said something that was true, that all this is true, Bill Haney would have said something about it, and Devin Haney. There's also a flip side to the coin. Sometimes you just don't move vocally with stuff that may be not correct. Also, it could be seen as, you're trying to hide the secret and keep it low-key up until the time presents itself to show up with it. Both instances are true. Again, it's a volatile situation. We don't know what's actually going to come up. All we know is right now, the only person that's directly said, hey, this ain't happening, is Shakur. Be clear. There's so many ducking the fight. Be clear now. Hold on. Wait a minute. That can snowball real quick. That can snowball real quick. That can snowball really quick. That's not what we're saying. We are not saying that he is ducking the fight with Devin Haney. I'll guarantee you that. Promise you that. Yeah, he still got work at 140. Yeah, he still got the rest of the titles that we want to see him go up against, like Gary Antoine Russell, like Dalton Smith, like a bunch of others in this division. But he isn't afraid to fight against Devin Haney. Again, I think he's a better fighter. And we can have that whole debate and discussion right now. Who do you think is the better fighter between the two? Devin Haney or Shakur Stevens. That's a whole nother conversation. The point being, she's vocally shot this news down. I'm fighting Devin Haney on Zuffa. All of that rah-rah that we hearing coming out the woodwork right now, as of right now, don't believe it. With everything we got to take with a grain of salt, as well as at face value. Skepticism balanced by, okay, this is all the evidence that we have. So I'm choosing to be skeptical. Doesn't mean I'm not excited if it does happen. We already laid out all the framework of what would happen if it does. But just be mindful of all this stuff coming out in a big old rumor tsunami. The only person that said something straight up about it has been Shakur Stevens. And for the most part, that brother has been decently honest when it comes to how he moves in the sport. I'm not saying he's perfect at all. I'm just saying with his sentiments, he's been decently honest with how he's been, if stuff is shaking or not. So, that's where we are right now. Don't buy too much into it at the same breath. Don't be so overzealous to just say, up. Everybody just trying to blow smoke. Because we just don't know concretely right now. So we got a bunch of people saying a bunch of things all at the same time. So let's pump the brakes a little bit. It would make sense for how Devin Haney works. It also would make sense that maybe Shakur wouldn't want to work with somebody like a Dana White. Remember, the last time a new player came into the whole foray with a boxing venture, Shakur was calling them all names under the sun. You know, towel boys and all that stuff. Very, very disrespectful. I don't care who said it. That's very disrespectful. But regardless of which, that's what he was doing. Saying, I'm never signing with them. Never signing with Turkey Al Sheik, The Ring, all that stuff. We ain't messing with that. Next thing you know, he's on 3 cards.
Hey, look at this. We got some problems here. We got some problems here.
He fights on 3 cards and gets a world title. On a ring card. Same promotion that he said he wouldn't fight on. So, we got that in the spectrum. Stuff can go awry. Very easy. In terms of, oh, I'm actually okay with it if this is a real thing. But at this point in time, we got to take what we can take, and that's all we can do. So, just to be clear, it's my stance. We got to wait and see. But it seems like it got shut down, or shut down, for the time being. And Devin Haney versus Shakur fighting on Zuffa, signing a deal, at this point in time isn't happening. But we'll see how it goes and transpires as we continue to follow this story incredibly closely. But either way, more stuff on the boxing world that we do need to cover, like with the concept of Bam Rodriguez. Hey, we need to discuss this real quick. And again, we're going to come back to Devin Haney and Shakur because I do want to talk about the talent for talent perspective of who can be greater within the next 3 years. Because that's going to be a real question. Because Shakur can quickly become everything that we see Devin Haney have with accolades as well as a better talent. And if that does happen, well, now that may leave Devin Haney in the dust in terms of legacy for legacy. But we can talk about that later on. Right now, Bam Rodriguez, hey, this brother's a pop. Oh my gosh. I'm telling you, and with all the talk of Inoue versus Nakatani, as we're switching gears, with all the talk of Inoue versus Nakatani, with all of the discussion about the greatness of the 2 most powerful super bantamweights in the land at this point in time, with Inoue and Nakatani fighting on May 2nd, same day as David Benavidez. David Benavidez himself also being on that card, kind of overshadowing everything of violence and action. Oh, we're going to see something spectacular, and we will. Oh, indeed we will. But at the same breath, Bam is preparing for his fight against Vargas in another instance of moving up to a division and looking to run another weight class. Now, with that being the case, now we're looking at, hey, this man's eking up to not just Nakatani Inoue's level of weight class as well as with what he's been able to achieve, but he's also eking up in his own ability to set himself up for the future. And by future, I mean the future of a bright, prosperous, and outright dominant career that has the world looking at him and him alone. Genuinely. It could be that case, but also we got people in the chat like Amin Rhoda. How you doing? Good to see you. Thank you so much for tuning in to the show with us on today. We appreciate you being here. We're so happy that you joined in on the live. Again, real quick, hold on. Let me adjust my camera real quick so we're a little bit more straight on when it comes to how the aspect ratio of our show. Hold on a minute. Wait a second. Minor adjustments. I think that should work. Hopefully we look good right now. Hey, there we go. Hey, there we go. Now we're looking good. But either way, let me see what you guys say, Rhoda. I just watched Bam versus Honey, and Sonny was touching him up. Vargas poses the same abilities. He is just younger. Well, here's the thing. Sonny was an incredible technical fighter before he retired. However, Bam Rodriguez fought Sonny into retirement. As in, Sonny Edwards was at the peak of his powers. Looked like he was the best at that division. And he was, even among, we were talking about Inoue and Juju Nakatani. Don't forget, Sonny Edwards at one point in time, though he was a smaller man, was one of the biggest prides of the overseas boxing landscape, especially in the UK. Oh, everybody had a major following, and he could talk that talk. Didn't have a bunch of power, but it didn't matter because he was making people look foolish. And he was being talked about and touted as a viable, dominant force in this division in the top 10 caliber talent. Bam put that to an end. Not even put it to an end. He ended his career. Yes, he got touched up. Same thing when he fought against Estrada. He got hurt against Estrada. It's not about getting touched because everybody's going to get hit. Shoot, Shakur's been hurt to the body against Oscar Valdez. Don't forget that. Zepeda landed more hits on Shakur than we've seen anybody else land on Shakur in boxing history at this point in time of their tenure. This does not mean that all of a sudden they're vulnerable. It is what situations are they getting hit and what they did in response. And in response to getting hit, Bam Rodriguez put Sonny Edwards in the dirt. Straight up.
Hey, look at this. We got the problems.
That's the thing.
We got some problems here.
And Vargas is, or can be, even though I believe Vargas has been knocked out cold. I mean, starched to the point it looked like that brother was going to have to go to the hospital. I think he did go to the hospital after the knockout that he had a couple of years ago. I remember that. Flat on his face, unmoving, I believe was what happened to him. I'm not holding it against him because anybody can get caught in any given point in time. We get that. But the same threat is posed, sure, with even more power. I understand, especially at a higher weight class. I get it. Same ability. I don't know if he's got the same boxing ability as a Sonny Edwards. But what you can say, whatever threat you may feel that Vargas poses to Bam, you can't use Sonny Edwards as the barometer. Oh, if he got touched then, he can get touched now, because Bam Rodriguez is better than what he was against Sonny Edwards. That's the truth. He's better. He's way better. You gotta understand. We've seen Sonny Edwards is one of Bam Rodriguez's best performances. He has eclipsed that ability of what he was against Sonny Edwards since he went and moved up or has continued to fight afterwards. He's been making fights look easier than that fight. He has become better than what he was then in that performance. We can see it. You can track it. It's the similar thing that we had when we were watching Inoue, and Inoue as the best performance that he had at one point in time in his career, arguably still to this day, was No Nito Donaire. The first fight. Oh, that was the magnum opus. That was the pinnacle of what everybody had said. Man, that's what put Inoue on the map for a global scale. We understand. And it's still one of the best performances he's ever had in his entire life. A phenomenal fight of the year. But since that fight, Inoue's turned into a whole nother beast. A whole nother beast. He's eclipsed even what he was in one of the most impressive instances of his life. That's what we're seeing Bam do right now. That's the truth. That's what we're seeing him do. I'm telling you. And the butter literally.
And he floats like a butterfly and hits like a tree.
That is what he is. He is able to move, be fluid, be easy going, have the capacity to make you miss with the greatest of ease, act like he's going through pad work and stinking reps in the gym, sticking his tongue out, holding his arms out. Come on, give me something. And it's effortless with him. There ain't many people that are effortless in boxing. We talked about a few, and he's one of them. It's effortless one. It looks like he is not going past 50%, but he's still putting everybody out and doing it in a way that it's just, there's no equal at this point in time with anybody around him outside of two. That's it. And he's better than he was even against Sonny. Vargas, I don't think he has a shot. He's got the power. Sure, he can catch him and hurt him. That's about it, though. Outside of that, I don't know, he gonna get put out. He gonna get blown up. He gonna get blown away. I'm telling you, he's gonna get blown away. Watch and see. Watch and see. Let me see. Bam does have problems against taller fighters. I don't think it's as or nearly as, what's the word? At this stage in Bam's career, I don't think it's nearly as visceral of the problematic implications that Bam against a taller fighter, hey, he can have some trouble because of where he is mentally, thinking the game, thinking the sport. It's not going to be. It's like when Inoue against Espinosa. Espinosa is going to be one of Inoue's hardest tasks today, and we were saying Nakatani is also going to be one of those hardest tasks as well. Both of them are taller opponents. Him against Stephen Fulton. Stephen Fulton was a taller fighter. We were saying, maybe in this bigger division against a taller fighter with somebody who is physically maybe able to go and do things that Inoue just cannot do, we could be seeing some problems. And we saw how he handled it. And against Espinosa, we would have this same sentiment. Hey, that's a tall brother. I don't know how you're going to go and dominate the same way. But the thing is, it's not about dominating the same way. It's about being able to dominate in any way. Both are great instances. You can have a fighter that no matter what comes his way, he's going to fight and destroy anybody in the exact same fashion. That's a whole different skill set, and it's incredible. On the flip side of the spectrum, you can have somebody that dominates every opponent in a completely different facet. But it's still the same type of domination, just done in a different vein. That's what Bam is on that end of the spectrum. The end result is still he puts everybody out. However, he does it in a sense where it's different for every opponent. But it doesn't matter what you bring to the table, physically or mentally, for almost everybody else, because he's just that good. He's just that good. But let me see. Bert, what's going on with you? How you doing? Good to see you. Thank you so much for tuning in to the show with us on today. Hopefully, you're leaving a like on the stream. Hopefully, you're sharing the show with everybody that you know, and you keep on telling people about what we got going on. One like makes a world of difference. And hey, keep on supporting the channel. We want to hear your chats and responses. Let me see what you had to say. Bam has it all. Footwork, head movement, and power. He's such a good fighter, and he knows his distance. There's no comparisons with Vargas, especially if Bam has been against competition already. And also, what's up to you? Salute to you. How you doing? I appreciate you on the live. But all of this is true. You can't really compare the physical stature of Vargas to be the end-all be-all against Bam, in my opinion, because of how farther developed Bam is. And we talk about him as a future GOAT, because this is going to apply to about everybody else up until he hits 122. Until he hits 122, this is probably going to be the thing against everybody. That's going to be where, okay, we start getting concerns now. Because at this current iteration, if everything holds true, can't nobody at 118 touch him. Can't nobody touch him. It's like with Terrence Crawford. At 140, 147, nobody can touch him. It wasn't until he got to 154 we were saying, okay, we might have a little bit of concerns. Now we're going to have some trepidation. But it takes to get to that level. David Benavidez, Canelo at 168 was his only op. Outside of that, we said nobody could beat him. At 175, that's the only way stuff started getting sketchy. And even then, now we're saying nobody can beat him. It's going to take him to get a cruiserweight or even heavyweight to be able to do something. Or to somebody to potentially put that type of blockade to really stifle his quality of production. And with Bam, I think it's going to be that same thing. Let me see. Straight punches always finds Bam's chin. Not nearly as much as they used to. And if anything, it's strictly because Bam is looking to counter a lot of times. Because again, like with Nakatani, he wants to end the show. All three of them had that same mentality. I'm going to take a chance. Yeah, I'm going to eat some shots. Shoot boots. Plenty of times he gets caught with punches that we're like, you could have avoided them. You should have avoided them. But it's because he wants to get himself in position to end the show. I'm not saying it's right because he still should be defensively responsible. But the difference between Boots and Bam has been defensively responsible way earlier and way more fundamentally than we had seen Boots, who just now started to implement that style, that part of his game in a more accentuated fashion. Go back and watch the fight with Jesse Martinez. Go back and watch the fight with Kafu. While pressuring, the defense was still flawless and he was still coming forward. He's going to get caught with some stuff, but it was like, okay, he's doing the right things. He's doing the right things when stuff comes his way. That's what I'm saying. Floyd did the right stuff, and he still got hit with stuff. Willie Pep still got hit with stuff. But it was you doing the right stuff while you're still trying to be demonstrative. That's when I'm like, okay, it's fine. Because nobody's going to be perfect. But you mitigate the risk as much as you can. Most fighters, they don't do that. But Bam does. But it never compromises his ability to still be on the offensive. That's why I love him, because he does so much stuff so well. Let me see. Vargas has been knocked out. Called Bam. Vargas has been knocked out. Bam hasn't. Should be easy work. Now, again, Bam's been knocked down. He's been knocked down, mind you. We ain't gonna act like both of these people are just invincible. Oh, no, you get caught in the right spot, you can get put down. Bam did as well. It might not have been, I think it was a flush shot. He recovered quick, which is, again, credit to his chin. He's got a better chin than I think anybody expects, because you want to say he gets caught, the brother takes it pretty well. Unless it's a Hall of Famer, you ain't really putting him down or dazing him in a way that causes him to be concerned. But the thing is, Vargas, yeah, he got put to sleep. But it's how he got put to sleep that makes it concerning. And yeah, Vargas was slept in the tent. Yeah, he was slept. And how did he get slept? He got caught in the trade. That's what happened. Crowd was raucous. Everybody was going through. Everything was all on the up and up. And the next thing you know, he got caught trading shots. And what happened? He got beat. The speed and the sharpness of that counter, when they were both on the inside, getting ready to throw the same opposite hand, he got beat. And that's why I value the fluidity of Bam. Because with his speed comes also great technique. He beats almost everybody to the punch every time. The knockout that he had against Puma, he beat him to the punch. Knockout against Kafu, he beat him to the punch. Knockout against Estrada, he beat him to the punch. Not just because he was quick, but because the direction, the technique, the through line of said shot, the most optimal path. Every time I've seen this man get a knockout, it's not with a swinging shot. It's not with something that looks like, you're putting yourself in a danger to get countered because, you're swinging too wide. It's straight up, boom. It's just that. It's just sharp. Everything is sharp with Bam, but it looks easy and smooth. And it worked so well. And I'm telling you, Vargas is going to be in trouble. He's going to be in trouble. He's going to be in some real trouble. especially when he keeps getting caught in counter. That's what's gonna happen. Be clear, that's what's gonna happen. He's gonna keep getting caught in counter. He's gonna keep getting hit in between his own shots, and the damage is gonna accumulate. Then he's gonna start getting desperate. He's gonna start swinging wildly. He's gonna start trying to land something big because now he's down by a lot, and now that's when you start going and losing. And Bam is probably gonna make it look easy. He probably gonna make it look easy. Probably gonna make it look easy, at least in my estimation. Let me see. True styles make fights. They do. They absolutely do. But I just think his style is better. Bam's chin will be tested. Also, if he gets put down at 18, he might get stopped. The risk is always there. Now, I'm gonna say this. Like I said before, I value his chin. I think his chin is better than what a lot of people give him credit for. Because we haven't seen him touched a lot in terms of like, ooh, something put him down inside of a strata. For anybody moving up in weight, the chin will always be a question. I'm not diminishing that at all. His chin could be a concern. His chin could be a potential thing where up here, now you in danger. We had the same questions about Nakatani when he moved up, because he went through, and when he fought Hernandez, we were like, this is a heavy hitter. He could get put down. He got, it was a war. It was a lot more visceral than we expected on both ends of the spectrum, but his chin did hold up like it's been holding up at 118 and beyond, and lower. Bam, it's held up at 115. At 118, we gonna see if it works still, or we gonna see if it falters. We gonna find out. But I am of the volition, or of the opinion, he is gonna be able to hold up just fine. I think it's gonna be just fine. But like I said, we're gonna find out, because Vargas does have enough power to test him. I do believe that. I just don't think it's gonna matter, because he's gonna get beat easily by Bam. Because Bam, even if he got all the power, he's just a better fighter. It's not about just, you hit and not get hit, but he's going to hit you and be able to also keep on hitting you. You're not good enough to stop his onslaught. He is good enough to stop yours. That's the real thing. That's in my opinion, that's the real thing. And let me see. Bam also got put down by Estrada. Yep, I did say that. I did mention that. Vargas will take him to a decision. If he does, hey, that's fine. If he does, hey, that's fine. The power of Bam could be something that's not the same here at 118, even with all the other stuff. Now, if it does go to a decision, it'll be a unanimous decision. But if we're going off of what Shakur said when he was at 135 and training with Bam, a younger Bam, he was saying that Bam punches beyond his weight class, very much beyond his weight class. So I'm still picking, if that carrying power still carries, I'm still picking, he's going to be able to be the same Bam or a similar Bam that we've seen at 115. And still get stoppages, still get knockouts, and do all that stuff. At least in my opinion. Let me see. We'll see. And what's up? It should be a good fight. Yeah, we're going to see what's up. We're going to see. And this goes into the question at hand. Down below. Bam Rodriguez being a future GOAT. Is this in the cards? And is this something that we should buy into? Because we're talking about the Vargas fight. We're talking about his stepping up. But if this keeps on going, he goes in dramatic fashion, wins against Vargas. Guess what's next? After that, it's Inoue or Nakatani. He said that verbatim. That ain't me just making up stuff. He said that straight up. If we get that fight next, that's what I'm taking next after this fight with Vargas. That's what I want next, if we can get it. Already stated that he was going to fight. He already stated that he was going to fight Nakatani previously at his first fight at 118, which is preposterous.
Hey, look at this.
That's ridiculous.
We got some problems here.
That's a ridiculous leap, especially in talent. But that's what he was going to do. And now that we're getting that fight with Inoue and Nakatani, though Inoue's been the biggest one saying, hey, if I win this, I'm going to stay around most likely for one more fight with somebody special, that person being Bam. I promise you, Nakatani's also thinking that same thing. I guarantee you. He's thinking that same thing. If I win against Inoue, if I beat Inoue, not only would he be the biggest win of my career, and set me up for pound, probably top 3. If he does that, at the same breath, guess what? Bam, you're part of this 3 kaiju war. Battle of the monsters. Who's the king of the monsters of this division, of this entire world below 130? Who reigns the entirety of this half of the globe? Who rules with an iron fist of the quote-unquote small guys, but essentially an entire hemisphere of boxing? Who is the man to beat? That's it. Who's the end? Who reigns over one half of the sport before transitioning into the land of the quote-unquote the bigger guys at 135? That's what this, and it's going to be. They got to go through each other. They all got to go through each other. Everybody's got to fight everybody. There is no ducking anyone when it comes to this, because it's straight up smoke on smoke, fire on fire. And Nakatani still got work to do because he is still a rival to Bam. He still is, because he's a part of this whole conversation. He is a third of this whole equation. So I guarantee you, if he can get that fight next, he gonna get that fight next without a doubt, because there's no way, and I do mean no way, that we're not gonna see that fight happen by next year. There's no way we don't see that fight happen by next year. I wouldn't be surprised if it led off the year, or even, dare I say, we get it in December. Good gosh, if that happened, my word, my goodness, if that took place, great day in the morning. Good gosh. Imagine we get that in December. Hypothetically, it'll be perfect. I would love it. I would love it anyway. But let me keep on reading your thoughts and opinions. If Dalton Smith beats Puello, then he would be on a great run. Hold on. Yeah, Dalton Smith beats Puello. He would be on a great run, especially if he KOs Puello. Oh, if he did, it'll be phenomenal. And like I said, again, we're still in the championship rounds, mind you. We're still going back and forth through conversations. Right now, we're talking about Bam, but if you want to talk about something else, bring your questions to the forefront and we can hear your thoughts and opinions right here, right now. We want to hear from you and keep on liking the stream. But to answer your question, Rhoda, yeah, if he does beat Dalton, if he does beat Puello, that's a great win. That's a phenomenal. That helps further validate his stance in the boxing landscape at this point in time. It does. Because this is a big win for Smith, that when he beat Martinez, at the same breath, it's still the jury's still out for some people on whether or not the validity of the threat of Dalton Smith truly is somebody that, as a champion, hey, is this but a real threat to potentially get more than just one belt and then ultimately lose to somebody else? There's still some people that hold that as their distinction of Dalton Smith, even though knocking out Matias is a big deal. Knocking out Matias is a huge deal. But some people still ain't sold. If he beats Puello, who's a better boxer, technician than Sabril Matias, people are going to have to start paying attention. People are going to really have to start to pay attention. Because it would be real. It would really be a real thing. But let me see. Vargas can be a pressure fighter, but he's going to deal with, but he's going to deal with that footwork. If he can, great. I'm sorry. Vargas can bring the pressure, but he's going to deal with that footwork. Oh, okay, yeah, he's going to have to deal with it. And yeah, like I said, we're kind of going back and forth through topics. But yeah, Bam can fight forward as well as Bam can move. Vargas primarily fights, I believe, as a pressure fighter. And with that, again, with that size, I don't blame him. Use it. But it's going to be difficult because Bam isn't just a standing target. He can also box like some of the greatest that we got in the sport right now. In every facet, he is built like that. And so, yeah, it's going to be tough for him. But if he does, great. If he does, great. We're going to see it. Let me see. Puello beats Dalton, which I feel he will. We should get that rematch with Gary Russell. Bigger and better. And his unification. I hope so. I mean, shoot, I hope so.
We got the problems here.
I hope we get that. It would make so much sense to have that as a fight that we get to see grace our airways. Because I'm telling you right now that at this point in time, Gary Russell versus Dalton Smith is a phenomenal fight to have go through. It's a great fight. That's a fight that shoot. Dalton Smith against Russell in their rematch, it'll probably be even more fun than the first time. It'll probably be more fun than the first time. So I hope we get that. My God, that'll be phenomenal. Let me see. I wouldn't doubt Smith. He could KO Puello. I think he could. Because again, the thing is, Dalton Smith's more precise than Subriel Matias, but now brings the power that at least we have to say is comparable. Because if you weren't punching with the same ability of a Subriel Matias, you weren't going to hurt Subriel Matias. But we got to see Dalton Smith hurt and knock out Subriel Matias. So that power is on the level of one of the three best punchers in the division. So you doggone right he can knock out Puello. It's just the fact that he's got to be able to deal with the footwork. But he's a better fundamental fighter than Subriel Matias. So he may have a better time taking better angles, dealing with somebody that's always darting and dashing, bouncing and moving, and got better power, or rather got better precision to land the shots that, yes, Subriel Matias was going great downstairs to the body. I mean, he was ripping downstairs. Absolutely. But also because he didn't want to have to deal with that moving target at the head a lot. Though, also as part of his game plan. Dalton Smith, he can break windows a little bit more surgically. And with that sharpness, can have a better chance of potentially catching Puello up top. And if so, it can be great. It can be really great. Let me see. That's the belt that Russell wants too. So it only makes sense. Yeah, no, it makes sense. It absolutely makes sense. And it's something that I would love to see. And if that happens, one step closer to getting an ultimate unification belt with maybe Shakur Stevenson at 140. Depending on where Shakur moves. Again, at this point in time, it looks like he's going to stay at 140. Because he shot down the idea of Zuffa, Haney, and Shakur having a fight this year in sight per social media. But time will tell, like I said before, as we started out the show. But even still, we're still in the championship rounds. We want to hear from you, your thoughts and opinions on everything involving the world of boxing and beyond. We want your voice. We want your opinion. We want your thoughts. And we want everybody on display to see what you got to say. Come on now, let's see what you got on our show. And let's keep this thing rocking. We got, hold on, wait a minute. Chat's loading up a little bit slow. Wait a minute. Hold on, wait a minute. Are we good? Okay, we're good. Wagner, how you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for tuning into the show with us on today. Let's see what you got to say. It's true, Dalton KO'd Subriel, but Subriel blocked every punch with his face. Just because you see that the shell crack doesn't mean the yolk isn't being broken up. Just a thought, and you're right. You are right, mind you. In fact, I can use one of my voices now. Let's take a trip down memory lane, shall we? The story of Joe Joyce, we've brought up plenty of times on this show. Joe Joyce was a man who was seen as indomitable, uncrackable. His chin felt like granite. There was nothing he couldn't take. Yet, finally Big Bang Jang broke him. Now, he was blocking punches with his face all the time as well. It was just micro fractures. The sediment started to run a little bit. The erosion of his chin eventually became too much. And when a big bang came through and shook up the foundation, that's when you saw stuff happen. And now, boom, up. It was going to catch up with him at some point. And then you see Joe Joyce never been the same. Now, with Subriel Matias, and Dalton Smith, it could be true. Matias's chin finally cracked under pressure because it had already taken so many hits. However, I think it's a little bit different than that. In this situation, Shakur Matias's chin hadn't shown any signs of wear and tear against anybody. And it straight up got beaten in by the power of Dalton Smith. What you're saying is right, absolutely. We've seen boxers go through, and because they take too much punishment, eventually it catches them, and now they're never the same. But in this instance, even though Shakur Matias, this was always his game, he was also putting people out so early that he wasn't taking as much damage. So he was still retaining a lot of his, very variable freshness per se. I think it just got broken through because somebody just had to crack just to say, yep, putting you out. I got your number. Now, again, this is why I've always said, no matter how good your chin is, don't use that as your only saving grace for defense. Because even if it's great, it doesn't mean it's always going to let up. It's always going to let up. It doesn't mean that it won't crack at some point. You got a strong wall, but that doesn't mean you want to just keep on hitting it religiously. Because at some point, it can falter. Have some barriers, have some cushion. Naturally as an extra layer of protection. That's defense. Shakur just never used his defense. Could Dalton Smith had the power to be able to go and crack him? It was just the fact that if he does, it's going to be something immense. But it's going to be hard to believe because normally he's just able to take it. This time he just couldn't. I think this is more of a testament to the power of Dalton than the straight up degradation of Shakur Matias's chin. Now, again, we bring up Joe Joyce as a very specific instance because if we start seeing now after Big Bang Jang, we've seen Joe Joyce get caught, hurt, and by a lot of other people. Or by more people, and been in a lot of the more different wards with people that normally would have been able to just overwhelm and walk through because his chin is no longer the same. We get that. If we see that with Matias in his next fight, then the erosion, it did happen. If it didn't, and we just see him be able to take the punches still, well now, the brother just got caught by a cat that had enough power. That's really how you tell somebody's chin is shot. If in their next fights, after they got caught like they got caught, somebody goes through and also hurts them, who potentially has less power than the dude that already put him out. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, you just ain't got the same level of durability anymore. The shock absorbers now are gone. That's the thing. It's not always the case. But just keep an eye out. But for now, all credit goes to Dalton Smith at this point in time, in my opinion. Let me see. Also, did you hear about the back and forth between Iglesias and Carlos? I did. They've been going back and forth wanting to fight against each other. And Carlos Adames and Iglesias is essentially that's a firefight. I don't know if it's going to get signed. I would hope that it gets signed. But that's a real good fight. And I'm going to tell you this right now. That's the best opponent Iglesias will have ever faced. I'm going to promise you this. That's the best opponent Iglesias has ever faced. But this would be the most dangerous puncher that Adames has ever faced, especially in his debut at 168, which again hasn't happened yet. There's two sides of this coin. Somebody like Adames can give Iglesias a world of trouble and put that prospective boogeyman title really in jeopardy, depending on, are you actually still enough to fight against somebody who's been able to go and who should have beaten one of the top people at your division in Hamza Shiraz? Or are you going to falter because you were great? You're a spectacular artist, knockout-wise. But technique may be something to be desired. Skill level may not be what we think it is. Again, I'm not saying it's going to be the case. I'm just saying that's the test that Iglesias has in front of him. if this fight does happen, and I don't want to see it, I'll tell you that right now. I would love to see that, absolutely. Where is it? I'm trying to keep on catch up with everybody's chats. Nobody gave him a chance. I picked, yep. And Rhoda, you were the one that picked him to KO Matias. I give you credit for that. You did. We were talking about that fight, and you were. I was a starch advocate saying I didn't think that he could knock him out. Knock him down, maybe, but knock him out, I did not see that at all. Because of, again, what he had shown. But hey, you got it right and you called it. So that's why I'm a believer in Dalton Smith. I am. It's going to, for other people, it may take some more to really buy into that train that this cat is the real deal. And we're going to find out. But let me see. I do think Dalton absolutely dominated. Just a different perspective. I watched it in real time. And I understand. Like I said, we like this. And it's not wrong, the perspective. It's a valid thing. It really is. Because the artistry of boxing isn't just in the scene, it's in the unseen. When we talk about the intangibles, when we talk about the grit, the chin, the tenacity, the heart, stuff that you can't really train, they just got it. The behind the scenes aspects of what makes a fighter a fighter. These things have weight. They hold a lot of tenure. They affect outcomes, even if they're not the most dominant thing on display. And a chin is one of the most vaunted, but oftentimes one of the least protected, due to the fact that if you can just take a punch, well, you can just take a punch. Who needs to guard when you can just go and walk through? Why? Because it doesn't phase you. It's an intimidating factor, but at the same breath, when you go and if it fails, well, you're up a creek without a battle. That's why we hold people like Gennady Golovkin or Marvin Hagler or Joe Frazier or George Foreman, some of the greatest fighters in history and some of the greatest chins in history. Because it wasn't just the fact that they could take a punch. It's also the fact that they didn't George, second half of his career, didn't just rely on absorbing punishment. Got his defensive stuff even more together with the training of Archie Moore and that cross guard style, adapted to his age of 39 to 45. But him in his later years, Joe Frazier, Marvin Hagler, the defense accentuated the fact I'm already hard to beat. Now, if you are able to be fortunate enough to catch me flush, guess what? I'm still standing up. Because I'm built like that. And it's hard to be built like this. It's hard to train a chin. I don't even know if you can train your chin. You can train your neck. You can prop it up like Mike Tyson. You can do all this. Mike Tyson had a great chin as well. But like it's one of those things, you can't teach it. You can't teach durability. It's kind of something you just got. It's kind of something you just got. Like Amir Khan ain't have no durability. But you blowing that butt. Next thing you know, timber, he's falling down. And for some, it's you can shoot the brother, and he's still just, hey, I'm good. It's the unknown drawing of the cards per se, of what a person may or may not have. It just adds to the intensity of the fight. Because if somebody all of a sudden, their chin falters, oh my gosh, the tank is broken. The shell is cracked. Can you believe it? The opening that we thought wasn't going to be able to be possible is actually possible. My goodness. And so all those things help make for a fight even more astounding. But let me see. Dalton Smith isn't a bad fight after all. His record is what, 16-0 with 14 knockouts? Yes, it is, I believe. Compared with these guys in the division, he still has to prove himself. Everyone thinks he's easy pickings now. Well, it's because he is, I don't want to say under the radar, but he's just now stepping into the spotlight for the legitimate appeal of the public. He was good. He was fighting decent competition. I'm not diminishing anything about his career. I'm simply saying the biggest people that were like, boxing is a top heavy sport. That's the thing. And this is a very important thing. boxing is a top-heavy sport. As it being a top-heavy sport, you see a bunch of times where people that are good don't get respect because they aren't known, because they're overshadowed by the shadow of the king. They're in the shadow of the current king of said division and or divisions, where one man is the end-all be-all for a multiplicity of landscapes. Right now, it's Shakur, who is casting a shadow over about everybody who doesn't have a title. And even those who do have a title, like Sabril Matias, he's still overshadowing because guess what? Nobody thinks he can beat him. And because of that, any matchups against anybody else or any matchups in regards to their own distinctive attributes and skill sets get diminished strictly because you're not Shakur. You don't get valued the same way. You don't get worth. The weight of your worth in salt gets reduced, not because you're not good, but because people don't value you in the same way because they're valuing this other brother so much more. It's the economy of boxing. It is the economy of boxing. It's a top-heavy economy. And when you get notoriety, and everybody already saying this is the brother to beat, everybody else's stock diminishes. It can happen at any point in time. Shoot, at 145. I'm sorry, at 154. Excuse me. We see the same transaction happen. Hot division. Everybody's excited. It's one of the most dangerous divisions in boxing. Murderer's row, as we called it. The 1 through 10, everybody's a threat. Next thing you know, Boots comes in. All of a sudden, you see the discourse of that whole division change. It's Fundora, it's Boots, it's Ortiz, and everybody else below them got their stock diminished in the public eye of speaking. Because what became the conversation? Nobody except for those three can beat Boots. And nobody except for Boots can beat those other two guys. Everybody else is working under their call. That's what you hear it on Inside the Ring. You heard it on ESPN. You heard it on all those things. And there's still a whole bunch of people in this division. But the economy shifted because a new currency came in. And the public devalued that other frame of currency because of what was already hot. Until that other level of currency that's being overlooked shows itself to be valuable on a major way that almost shocks people, you're going to keep on getting the same situation. People are devaluing fighters that are actually really good. And then sadly, that's where Dalton Smith is at. But he can be great. Yeah, I'm telling you, he can be a really good champion. He really can. Let me see. That's if he even gets past Puello. And again, Puello is that test. If he gets past Puello, that is a quality assessment. Okay, yeah, this brother, his currency is real for a lot of people. They'll wake up to the fact, okay, this man, this ain't no fluke. This ain't no one-time one-hitter quitter. This ain't no one-time Thurman situation. This cat can actually fight. For a lot of people, that will be their eye-opening sentiment. So let me keep on reading what you all have to say. Andy Roca versus Dalton, who do you have winning? Ooh. Now, that fight, that's a good fight. If it's that fight, I'm picking Hiroka. Now, the reason why I'm picking Andy is because the way he looked in the second half of his fight with Russell, that brother is scary. Those scythe-like hooks to the body, the length and speed that he's able to get his shots off, being able to operate not just in the pocket, but also at long range, still being able to throw power on a great consistent basis, and some of the shots that he was using when Russell was ducking down low, landing uppercuts, he was putting it together. He was putting it together really well. That against Russell, that impressed me a whole lot. On a skill level, that impressed me a ton. That is completely different from Sabir Matias. And that's a completely different player. That's a brother with the distance management ability. But added on with the power that player just doesn't have. If Dalton Smith fights against him, now that's a fight I think he can lose. That's a fight I think Dalton Smith can lose. Oh, he still got the power to knock him out. And he's a great fight. Again, it's a great matchup. It's that length of Hiroka. That's hard for me to see. If he's fighting like he did in the second half of Russell, that's a hard fight for me to say. It'd be tough for me to not pick Andy Hiroka. That's a good fight. That's a good fight, though. I'm leaning towards Andy in that specific matchup. That's a good fight. That's a really good fight. Shoot, that's a good fight if we ever got to see it come. Let me see. No one wants to fight Andy. That's the thing. He's literally the black sheep. I mean, you see why? We saw him when he fought against. We saw what happened when he fought against Gary Russell. Somebody who many people picked is to walk through him. Many people picked Russell to walk through Andy. I picked him to beat him. But this for Andy, this could be considered a coming out party. This cat is not just is he entertaining. He can take a punch. He's got a good chin. He's got borderline great speed. Coupled with the fact that he got pop that is more than just sting. That record of what he is as a knockout artist, that ain't a fluke. But them punches hurt. Them punches were making Russell second guess a little bit. That brother was having to think before in fact, he stopped working on the inside in the same way. Once Andy really started saying, all right, it's round 5? All right, we got to start working now. And started really planting his feet, using his length, and ripping downstairs of the body and catching him with uppercuts when Russell was trying to duck down. He had to rethink some things. Because that power is real, man. That brother, Andy's a problem. Andy's a problem. That's a problem. I get why people don't want to fight. That's a big time problem. Good gosh, man. Shoot. That being said, what about Andy versus Shakur? Now Shakur, I'm picking Shakur on that. The Ultimate wants all the smoke. Yeah, I take. He does. I will. If still as a champion, get more vocal. I want to hear him get more vocal about who he wants to fight. But yeah, he doesn't want to duck anybody. I don't deny that. But again, Burr, Andy Cruz, or Andy versus not Andy Cruz. Wait, you talking about Andy Cruz? No. Andy versus Shakur in terms of Hiroka. I'm still trying to learn how to say his name correctly. My apologies if I mess it up. I am trying my best. But Andy versus Shakur, I'm picking Shakur. I am picking Shakur, even though Andy would be the taller fighter. Now that's where stuff gets a little bit interesting. This would be one of the few times in Shakur's career that somebody would be this much bigger than him. Yes, he went up to fight Teofimo Lopez at 140, but he was still bigger than Tio on fight night. Andy versus Shakur, that's a little bit different. Andy's what, 5'10"? Was he 5'10", 5'11"? Maybe upwards of 5'9"? Now, it made it look different because Gary Russell's a little bit on the shorter side as a fighter, but that's a literal tall glass of water that you got to try to deal with. That would be an interesting dynamic. I'm still picking Shakur to be the sharper, again, more defensively sound wizard of a technician that he is, because it's Shakur. But that'll be a fun fight. I'll say that. I would say that'll be a fun fight. That'll be a fun. Yeah. Wagner, I'm with you. Yeah, I'm picking Kerr. I'm picking Kerr in that. I'm definitely picking. It's just that length. I would be very, and that's the thing. The one thing about Shakur Stevenson, I just haven't seen him deal with a rangy fighter in this type of capacity comparative to his frame of body. I'm not holding it against him. I'm just simply saying that type of matchup where we've seen somebody, okay, this butt is longer, taller, and has the ability to make distance not nearly as easy to use. I haven't seen that. And I think that's why this fight with Devin Haney would be so interesting. Because the length or reach department, I believe Devin Haney would hold that. And so that distance that we know both of them want to keep so well, that would be, that I would love to see how he handles it. I would love to see how he handles it. I would love to see how he handled it. Andy knew what he was up against fighting Russell. It was smart not jumping into action, but he wasted too much time. See, that's the thing. That's what I hated about that fight. He wasted too much time working to get that second gear of picking up the pace, picking up the offense, landing shots. Because once he started doing it, everybody was saying, this is a whole new fight. It's a whole different fight now. Russell was looking like, hey, buddy, you getting pushed back. It was if that had happened earlier, the consciousness of jumping in, I'm with you. But once he fully committed to say, okay, we just got to fight. I mean, he handled himself perfectly. He handled himself phenomenally. And he could have done that early. He really could have done that same thing earlier. Dang it, man. If he had started earlier, what would this fight have gone? Or how would this fight have gone? It's a question that I'm always going to know. I'm always going to ask anyway. You don't think Andy is going to get past the jab? Or you don't think Andy going to get past the jab, get that body work? Well, see, that's the problem with Shakur. Getting past the jab is the first and last battle. That's not just an easy thing. I mean, shoot, again, we've seen people land to the body of Shakur. He can get caught. It's just the fact that you don't lose control. To beat Shakur, you have to take control of the fight away. And the only way to do that is to take away his jab. That's the only way. That's the only way. If you don't take away his jab, you're not going to win the fight. It is impossible. Just seems like it's impossible anyway. And that's going to be a struggle. Even with him being a taller fighter. So I'm not saying he can't. I'm just saying if he doesn't, well, it's game over. Most likely. Because that jab, even at a diminished reach advantage, or a disadvantage rather, what did Mike Tyson say? You don't need a long arm to have a good jab. You don't need height to have a good jab. A good jab is all about timing. And Tyson had a phenomenal jab at only 71 inches of reach. And at 5'11", 5'10", and most likely if we talking about his height. He had timing. The timing of a fighter is the biggest thing that makes a fight. The timing of an opponent, in terms of timing your punches to them, negates everything that you are able to not have as a physical advantage. Because no matter how big somebody may be, no matter how fast somebody may be, if you time them correctly, they can't do anything. Because you got them. You picked right. And with Shakur, he does that every single time. And if you can't even, you getting around the jab isn't enough. And that's, you know what, and actually this is a perfect segue actually. Back to Devin Haney versus Shakur. This is the difference. You can get around Devin Haney's jab and have an opportunity to beat him. We saw Lomachenko get around Devin Haney's jab and arguably beat him. For a lot of people, he beat him. But for Shakur, getting around the jab isn't enough because the jab for Shakur has so many more uses than the jab for Devin Haney. It's so much more versatile of a Swiss Army knife. It's a distance keeper. It's a point getter. It is a deterrent. It's a defensive mechanism. It's a setup shot. It's a countering shot. It's a disruptor. It can disguise other punches. It's a tool to exit out of exchanges. It's a tool to exit out of the corner. It's a pocket tool. He can walk you down using it. He can work backwards using it. He's got so many different ways that jab can be a weapon where it's never nullified. You can get around it one way and he can use it the next. With Devin Haney, if you get around the jab, you may not have nullified it, but you've taken away enough of its ability that now you can work with how you can work. But with Shakur, getting around the jab is not enough. You got to stop it. You got to nullify it. You got to take it away in totality, because if you can't, or match it. If you can't match it or completely take it away, there's no way you can win. That's what it feels like when you're watching Shakur. It doesn't feel like that when I watch Devin Haney. But with Shakur, if you don't nullify it completely or match it completely, there's no way you can win. That's what it feels like, because it's so diverse and elite in all of its forms. That is monstrous. It's monstrous. It's incredibly monstrous, man. It's insane. Let me see. Shakur's jab placement is the offense. Shakur's jab placement is the offense that is defensively responsible. I think Haney has a better jab because of the variety he brings with it. But at times he can be, but at times can be taken off his game plan. Shakur is extremely dedicated to the game plan. That's the thing. If you, essentially, we're saying the same thing. Although I do disagree, and I do think Shakur's jab is better. But in this vein, we're saying the same thing. You get Devin Haney off his game plan, or you even get around it, he changes everything about himself. We said this before, that doesn't happen with Shakur. It doesn't happen with Shakur. If it did, we wouldn't be having these conversations that we are having about him. But it doesn't. Because he's that much of a dog. Let me see. Yo, Sean, what's going on with you? How you doing? Thank you for tuning into the show with us on today. We're so happy that you're here, joining us on our live stream. Please keep on hitting a like on the video. Keep on subscribing to your channel if you haven't already. If you like our discourse and you like what we got going on in the show, leave a like, subscribe, come join the empire. And hey, if you want to support the channel, we got Cash App, PayPal, links down below, as well as Super Chats and gifts, stickers, and the like if you can support. It would mean the world to me, no question about it. But let me see what you got to say. What do you think about T.O. pulling out of IBF 140 shot against Delgado? Now Delgado versus Azim or Arthur will happen. And I think you also say, excuse me, that's a separate conversation. But yeah, but let me answer this. So Sean, T.O. already said he was moving up to 140. IBF wanted him to fight for the vacant title, but he's committing. I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at him sticking to his guns and wanting to move up to 147 to go and fight with bigger divisions. One, because he's staying to his word, and two, I don't think that he wants to stay at 140 because of what happened with Shakur. Now again, speculation, be clear. Be clear. Oh, no, that's the wrong button. Be clear. This is speculation. Speculation. Nothing set in stone. Please, just so you know, just so I ain't getting, no, I'm echoing this so y'all can hear. This is simply nothing but speculation. But I don't think he's going to go through and want to deal with Shakur again. So he fought the best in the division. He had reigned 3 times already. He lost to Shakur in a way that, okay, this is the outright king. Getting all the other belts at 140 or fighting at 140 again, to go through that type of fight with Shakur ultimately in a rematch, even if I win, might as well try my shot at a different legacy and go after 147 and see what I can do up there. In my opinion, I'm not saying it's right or wrong. Just saying it's my opinion and thoughts on the matter. I think Shakur isn't. I still think Shakur isn't Mayweather. If he doesn't carefully choose his opponents, he will lose, and I hope so. I hope so. I hope so. I hope so. I want him to lose. Not because I'm hating. Be clear, not because I'm hating, but because I've said this about Inoue. I said Inoue is gonna lose. Most likely, I hope it doesn't happen. Really, I hope it doesn't. But if he keeps on going this way, I wouldn't be surprised if he lost the fight. Or 2. Because you're going against people that are built like that. You're fighting the best of the best. This is going to happen. If you aren't careful, yes, you can potentially lose. Why? Because you're taking on the best test imaginable. That's what we want to see. That's what we aspire to witness, and that's what we enjoy. As boxing fans, as people who just love the sport as a whole, this is what we want. I don't want him to take easy routes. I don't want him to fight people that I know he's gonna beat. I want competition. I want people that can test him. I want somebody that can put this brother's record on the line because it shows how great you are. That's what we asking for. If we don't get that, that's a problem. The whole thing, remember, we just got out of the Floyd Mayweather era where everybody was following Floyd's moniker. We don't want to fight nobody. We want to save our record and want to make sure that the public knows we're the baddest man on the planet without actually fighting the baddest man on the planet. And it messed us up for years. We're getting out of that, thankfully. If that was the case, we wouldn't be getting Nakatani versus Inoue. We wouldn't have gotten Bivol versus Beterbiev. We wouldn't be getting David Benavidez versus now Zona Ramirez. We wouldn't have gotten Terrence Crawford versus Canelo. We wouldn't have gotten Terrence Crawford versus Errol Spence Jr. We wouldn't have gotten any of these fights. None of them. Shakur versus Tio would have never happened if we still operated in that moniker of we want to protect our record. We don't want to fight the best of the best. I want Shakur to put his life on the line in the respect of putting his chances to win as slim as possible. I don't want him to actually die. Be clear, I'm not saying put his life on the line, kill over. I'm talking about put his career in jeopardy with the type of talent that is equal or better than him, because that will show us how great he is. And even if he loses, guess what? He's still great because he went and challenged somebody that was like that. That's all we ask for. We can't rave about the past and then say we don't want that in the present when the past and the standard that's being held up, and when it is justified and fair, we see it done now and people say it's too big of a risk. People say it's too much of a problem. People say you're taking too big of a chance. Makes no sense. It's counterintuitive. Counterproductive. It's whatever word you can say for backwards, because that's what it is. You're working in reverse of what history said you should be doing. And with Shakur, if we want to call Shakur one of the greatest of all time, if we want to say Shakur Stevenson can match or eclipse what we see from the career standpoint of accolades and name recognition with Devin Haney, we want to see him with the upper echelon of some of the greats in the pantheon of boxing as a whole, reaching the upper echelon of the boxing world. Name in the stars like Hercules. We got to see you work. We got to see you work. There's no other way. We got to see you work. Anybody. I don't care who it is. Anyway, Nakatani, Benavidez, Tank, Bivol, Usyk, Moses the Talmud. It don't matter where. We just got to see the work. We see the work, we give you the praise. That's what we're saying. Let me see. Shakur could lose to Prime Cotto. Ooh, that's a good fight. Ooh, that's a good fight. I don't know who would win that. I don't know. That's a 50-50 fight. He could lose to him. Yes, he could. Prime Cotto, yeah, he could lose to him. He could. But that'd be a good fight, though. And crazy enough, we haven't even seen Shakur yet in his prime. I think we're just stepping into that now, especially with his win against Tio. This is the start of his outright prime as a fighter, I believe. So we're gonna find out exactly how great he can be from this point on. But that's a good fight. I'm not sure who would win that. That's a good fight. I don't think Shakur would sign a contract against Haney anyways. I think he would. I think he would. Because again, I don't think Shakur ducks smoke. But where his eye is at may just be on, if he can get the bigger fights first, yeah, he'll get them. Because he doesn't want to fight everybody that he can. Let me see. I'm trying to make sure I keep on going through. I think anyway loses. Oh, wait a minute. Oh no. You think, or I think, anyway loses to Shoot. If that happens, I ain't saying that. I don't think that. No, hold on now. I'm all for great fights. I don't think that's happening. Oh Lord. Oh no. And wait, I respect the opinion. Shushu has just come into his own as, okay, he's arrived on a grand stage. Great talent. Just had a phenomenal knockout in the 11th round in his last fight in New York City on the undercard of Shakur versus Teal. We love it. He might be on the undercard for Boots versus Zayas if we see that go through. But I'm telling you, I don't think he ain't losing anyway. Or rather, he's losing anyway. At 126, yeah, he's losing. He's got, and it's because he, even with that Philly shell and what you see as fast twitch for shoot you, it's a different world when you deal with Inoue. It's a different world when you deal with Inoue. Inoue thinks on a plane that as great as Shushu is, he just ain't there yet. He's way too young. And he ain't been in the ring with people of the same caliber of constant threshold of competition that we've seen Inoue face. I'm telling you, he may be on paper in a bigger division, but he's talking with the confidence. Yeah, I want to fight him, and I love it. I want to see the fight, but I guarantee if he do fight Inoue, he's getting knocked out. He's getting knocked out, or at least it's gonna be okay. Yeah, the levels of this are different. It's gonna take an Espinoza with a superb level athletic advantage, or somebody of that ilk at 130 and beyond to potentially beat this cat. That's what I think is going to happen. But again, only time will tell. It's a good fight, though. It's a very good fight. I'd rather Shakur prove me wrong than see him lose, to be honest. But I do want to see against dangerous competition. That's my thing. I want to see him win, lose, or draw. I just want to see him against dangerous competition. Devin Shakur Haney should fight it out. We want closure. We deserve it. Yes, we do. Yes, absolutely. Doggone it. Let them all fight each other. That's another triangle of danger that we want to have. Three of some of the best technical fighters in the globe. Who wears the crown in that department of skill, pure skill and nothing else? Like, this is a pugilistic's dream. Straight, nothing but skillful boxing. That's what if we got them all fighting each other, good gosh, it'd be the greatest thing in the world. Wait a second. Devin Shakur Haney. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Tank Shakur Haney. My apologies. I don't know why, my bad. I was reading too quickly. This is the matchup. Tank Shakur and Haney. Let me rephrase this. If those three fight against each other, triangle of danger that we all want to see, all of them were at 135 at one point in time, and we never got those fights. Tank could have made those fights at any point in time, but that's a whole nother conversation. We've talked about Tank before and how he wants to move. But if Tank beat both of them, we'll be saying, okay, yeah, his validity of greatness is now stamped. If Shakur beat any of these two, his validity is already stamped, but it will be stamped even more. And Haney, it would only add more to the bolstering nature of the names and accolades that he'd already done in his career. We want to see these three fight. Be clear. There is the only other comparable three-tiered level of danger that surrounds each other is Bam, in a way, and Nakatani. This is that, but on a potentially grander scale, because all three of these names are even more notoriety or are even more notable in the average public eye, casual and hardcore. I would love to see them fight against each other. I want the score settled some way or another. I do. I really do. Let me see. What do you see the future of Canelo in future? Will we see him out cold, finished by anybody? I don't think Canelo's ever going to get knocked out. I think his chin is too good at 168 unless it's Shiraz or Benavidez or maybe Iglesias. Those are the only three that I can see knock him out. Outside that, I can't see anybody else at 168 or below or even above. Put him to sleep. But I do think he loses more. And the question, we said this a couple of weeks ago, the question of Canelo is, how do you adapt? That's been the question. How do you adapt? How do you go through and shift your ability with your age? Because he's 36 with over just about 70 fights. This man is no longer a spring chicken. We're in the danger zone of Canelo fully out of his prime. And if he can't change with the stuff that was exposed when he fought against Terrence Crawford, we're going to see potentially the greatness of Canelo now start to wind down. I hope it lasts long, but at this point in time, that's what it looks like. That's what it looks like is going to happen. It's a danger. Again, I use the echoing sentiment because I want it to be, I want you to feel it. We're in the last stages of Canelo's career. Elbow surgery and all doesn't change the fact, but you at 36, you cannot fight the same way and expect to win now in the same confident manner, strictly because we now see, though everybody ain't Terrence Crawford, you're a lot closer to the rest of the competition that we had seen at 168, especially with how the division looks now, than what it was 2 years ago. There's no longer just you and everybody else. It's you and everybody else. You're with them now. Even if you're favored, and I do have him favored to be undisputed again, but you're in the pack. You're not leading the pack in the same way anymore. You're at the number one spot, sure, but like in NASCAR, buddy, they right on your heels. You bumper to bumper. It's 3 wide right behind you and 2 wide behind them. It's a 5-car race right now, and they ain't nothing but half a second behind. In fact, no, they less than 0.2 seconds behind. A wayward drift can send you to the back of the pack. You got to change how you drive, because if you don't, it's going to be a lot harder what it was to get back to the top of the mountain. Now that you're back at the essentially starting point with everybody else, at least for me. Let me see. I disagree, but if the fight takes place, talking about with the shoot thing. Yeah, we gonna see. Like I said, I respect the opinion, and if that fight is happening, we're gonna break it down. But I'm telling you right now, I just feel that anyway is gonna be able to put him out, in my opinion. The thing about anyway, been on the field, Shushu just coming on the scene. Yep, absolutely, he's already ready for the monster. I don't think he is at this point in time. Now, if he beats, one of the other champions, gets unified, especially if it's Espinosa. All right, yeah, we got ourselves a conversation. I would love to see that. I would love to see that type of fight. But let me see. Tank really wasted his talent coming from his day one fan. I went to it. Oh, you wait, hold on. You got to go to a fight with Tank in 2018? But how was that like? Shoot. Hey, but how was that like? What was the atmosphere? Good gosh. I mean, Lord. I cannot, mind you, I went to watch Ryan Garcia and Tank at a local spot around the city. And it was one of the most packed environments and one of the best environments I'd ever seen. I've been able to see Spence versus Crawford, one of the best environments I've ever seen. But Tank versus Ryan, but that crowd was raucous. That was a better environment in a whole because of the volatility of the fan bases. Brother, what was that like seeing Tank live with that type of crowd? I guarantee you the stars were out in abundance because he is able to bring in abundance of people. Next time you go, hey, send me a ticket. I want to go see what that's like. I'll let it go with it. But let me see. Canelo has no motivation. He achieved everything he could. What's his motivation? So this is a great question. This is a great question. Canelo's motivation is no longer just winning. So now he's trying to defy what should be the end. He loves to fight. He doesn't want to give up this sport because this sport has given so much to him. He is one of the few fighters, I'm not even going to say few. He's one of the fighters who's cut from a cloth where I do this because I love it. More than I got the money, I got the fame, but I love to fight. He does love to fight. I can attest to that. He does love to just fight, straight up. So it's a love of the game situation. It really is. It's a love of the game situation. And it's to prove something to himself as well. Because you don't want to go out on your legacy losing. Or at least he does. I won't say you. He doesn't want to go out on his legacy with Terrence Crawford being the last thing that you remember. When he still feels like I have a lot left in the tank that I can go and achieve. And this division can still be mine. Guarantee you. He gonna keep on fighting. And this is gonna sound crazy, but he's also gonna keep on fighting. Even though he ducked him multiple times. I think he is gonna keep on fighting for Benavidez. I really do. It sounds crazy, I know. It sounds insane. It sounds preposterous. Because he ducked him all these years. But I'm telling you now, Canelo, still in the back of his mind, sees that fight. At some point, it's a non-negotiable. Just like Fury and AJ. Both of them can't retire without fighting the other. They can't. They can't. And Canelo and Benavidez, as much as we can say what we feel about it now, they can't retire. They both feel they can't retire unless all avenues are exhausted and we finally get that fight. I don't care where it's at. Benavidez will still come back down to 168. I don't care what he may say. He'll still come back down to 168 if Canelo says, you know what, let's make that fight happen. He'll do it. Quick as a hiccup. I promise you. Because that is something, that is more than just a fight. That's more than just a rival. That win is a cornerstone for both of their careers and what they can be viewed at as in the pantheon of their respective legacies compared to the other greats that they're also fighting to overcome. Salvador Sanchez, Julio Cesar Chavez, Ricardo Lopez, and others of that ilk, both of them, especially in the Mexican world, brother, they are fighting for their way up to that level. And they want it. They do want it. And that fight with each of them can shift that conversation of where they ultimately ended. Where they end at, I don't know. That's up to the public. But to have this as a footnote for what can happen when that conversation does indeed take place for their legacies in the all-time pantheon of boxing, this fight is going to be, man, I could rate them differently if they fought each other. Versus, they fought each other. So because of this, now I can put X above Y. or Y above X, or whatever the case may be. That's what it can be. But let me keep on reading what you all's thoughts are, because we're still in the championship rounds, and we still want to hear from you in every regard of boxing and beyond. I honestly don't think Lester Martinez should fight the winner of Canelo and Billy right away. I think he should fight the winner of Resendez and Munguia and get his feet wet. Well, he just became the interim title holder. Won that on Pro Box TV. He fought M. Billy already to a draw in a phenomenal Fight of the Year contender. I don't know how much more wet his feet can get before you're ultimately saying, yeah, go on and take the test. Because at this point, especially in boxing, especially when it comes to Canelo, we know how stuff has favored Canelo to let him move like he wants to move, especially with the WBC and Mauricio Suleiman. If he doesn't take this chance to fight Canelo now, there's a potential situation where he might not be able to fight him again. Because we've seen other people in this same pool who were available to fight Canelo, who wanted to fight Canelo, who deserved their spot to fight Canelo, but they never got their opportunity. Mind you, WBC is the one who mandates the mandatory. It's not the fighter that activates anything. It is the sanctioning body of the belt of the belt itself that activates who fights who when the interim title is in somebody's possession. Okay, now you got to fight this brother who's holding the interim championship. This is your mandatory. Either you do it or you get stripped. Like we saw with the IBF with Usyk, Crawford, and who was the third one? Somebody got stripped. Somebody got stripped by the IBF. It was Usyk. It was Crawford who got stripped. Who was the third one? There's a third fighter that got stripped between this year and last year who just won a belt. But because he didn't defend it, the IBF, or defend it against the mandatory, the IBF stripped him. I can't remember who it is, but it's happened multiple times. And unless the WBC forces that type of hand, it's like, it's who knows if you get a shot or not. So I'd say take it now. I'd say take it now and see how it goes. Let me see. I think most of the new gen at 168 is overrated. Ole's didn't get impressed with me in the IBF title. WBA, Munguia, Resendez, not impressed. And Billy and Shiraz, only guys that excite me versus Canelo. Also, let me see. We had Wagner say Armando looked really good last time out. Yeah, he did. And to both of those points, more specifically Jones than anything, the division now is deeper than what it was before Canelo lost. Because you now have Shiraz, Adames, and Billy, Martinez, Canelo. That's a five. That's five. If I said that right, that's five people. Berlanga, we know Berlanga lost. He ain't nowhere in that type of propensity. We understand. But the division, it's still top heavy. But it is still heavy at the top. Because a couple of those folks, like Martinez and then Billy, they fought each other. And this was like, oh my gosh. This is insane. I think in Ole's, I get it. Iglesias is somebody just popped on the scene, looks like a knockout artist. Everybody, including myself, be clear, including myself, I'll put myself on Front Street. I'm high on Iglesias as to what he can be as a threat. I'm not saying he's the best boxer out here, but he's got enough in him that he can put a lot of people that we don't expect in some real trouble up here at the top. But with all of that at the top, yeah, it's looking more dangerous than we had really ever seen. More specifically with Shiraz, kind of being that X factor. That's really the glue that's putting everything in dissension. Because if Shiraz does what we're seeing Fundora do, that changes the whole dynamics of what this whole division can be. Truly, it does. You got veterans, you got people of all different types of caliber of talent. You got Martinez who trained with Bomac, who already knows how to beat Canelo. So he can do it again potentially with Martinez. You got Billy that can put Canelo in a war of attrition. He loves to hit people who are just come forward. And then Billy's the most come forward fighter right now in this whole division. And then you got Olays as a brother who, was he 14-0? Got a title already. And is looking like one of the most destructive forces. He ain't the most skilled. But he's looking like what we saw Bakram at 154. But potentially even more dangerous. There's a lot to be excited about. And they're all moving against each other. So for me, that's why it's exciting. And plus the X factor of Canelo, what is he going to be coming back? Because we are fully in the out of prime days of Canelo. There's no going back to prime form. It is going to be here on out. He's out of his prime. But he's good enough to still fight. So what will that look like? So I think there's a lot to be excited about, in my opinion. I can see Canelo fighting David at 175 with a rehydration clause. Yeah, I can see that. That's viable. That's absolutely viable. It wouldn't be smart for him. He better bring Benavidez down to 168. And chips fall where they may, but you weigh in at your best weight. Because anything of Canelo above 175, he gets beat to Kingdom Come. There's no shot. The only shot he's got to beat Benavidez is to fight him at 168. And if he moves up, he's going to look worse than what he looked like against Bivol. Because his body can't operate like he did against Sergey Kovalev anymore at beyond 168. We saw it. He cannot fight up there anymore and be good like he wants to be good. He can't do it. And so he better stay down there. I think Canelo will leave 168 after and Billy. He better not. He better not. Look now. He better not. Whoa now. Hold up. He better not leave. You got to understand, brother. 175. Dangerous. It's that at this stage, Canelo is too dangerous for him. He's sluggish. He's slower. His stamina can't compete like he needs to at 160, at 175. Everything about his game plan at 175 against the elites, because he's going to be fighting the elites. Bivol again. Better Biev. David Morrell, who was already a prospect at 168 against Canelo, though it was only like 6 fights in. Those types of names. And Benavidez, all going to be at 175. But the same struggles of what 175 was giving Canelo. It's the same thing he's going to have to deal with against better or as good competition as the last time he was up there. You want to see Canelo get Archie by the BF? You want to see that brother stomp a mud hole into Canelo's chest and walk it dry like Stone Cold? That's what we gonna see. That's what we gonna see. That's what we gonna see. This brother gonna stomp a mud hole in Canelo and walk it dry. I'm dead serious. There's nobody at 175 I want to see Canelo fight. Because he can't win up there against that elite competition. There's no way. No way. Benavidez is too relentless and can take whatever Canelo throws at him. And he's a smart fighter. And he's going to be coming forward. And he loves it. Canelo's stationary. Better BF stationary. You ain't playing Canelo's game. You playing Better BF's game. And Better BF going to kill you every time. Can't do it. And Benavidez at 175, we saw he knocked out Yard with ease. What you think he's going to do to Canelo, who starts breathing heavy by round 7? Like he did against Bivol. And couldn't keep up with the pace that Bivol was throwing at him. It's going to be bad. It's going to be bad. And Bivol, if he fights Bivol again, what's going to be part 2? Another dominant destruction. You ain't getting your get back. You'll get outboxed, outworked, beaten to Kingdom Come, and go on home back where you're supposed to be. Yeah, that's what I see. He beat Morrell at 175. That's about the only person. That's about the only person. But again, the Canelo that fights Morrell won't be the same Canelo. We're not talking about the Canelo that's at 168. These are two different versions. If he moves back up there, that Canelo can lose to Morrell. Because that Canelo doesn't have the same access to the same abilities that he has at 168 because his body cannot move like it needs to move at 175. It's too much weight. It's too much muscle, and his frame, especially now, cannot be what it was, like it was when he fought against Sergey Kovalev. He'll make the weight fine, but dealing with that engine in that type of car that's got more horsepower, he can't handle it the same. He can't handle it the same, and it showed when he fought against Bivol. Not just because Bivol is that good of a fighter, but Canelo greatly was not the same brother. And when he went back to 168, he looked a whole lot better, did he not? He did. He really did. But let me keep on reading what you all got to say as we are doing I love this. I love all these conversations. I do appreciate it. Keep on liking the stream. Please keep on sharing the show if you haven't already, and keep on enjoying the whole endeavors. And we want to still hear from you. And again, shameless plug, because I got to pay the bills somehow. If you want to join the show, we got Cash App, PayPal, links down below in the description, super chat, super gift, stickers, and the like. If you can support it, would mean the world to me, no question about it. But let me keep on reading what you all have today. Salvador Sanchez, the GOAT man, ultimate rhythm fighter, like a jazz musician in his flow state. No, it is. It really is. Hold on. Oh man, hold on. Let me take a sip. I need something to drink real quick. Gotta stay hydrated. I've been talking about an hour 30 without a lick of water. Hold on a minute. See, we ain't got no commercial breaks like we do, like you see on ESPN, NBC, and all these other platforms. But it's straight up. We moving, we coasting. But you can't get this. You can't get this level of entertainment and synopsis and analysts of the boxing globe and the sports world as a whole in this type of vein anywhere else in the world, because this is the best place to be on the hottest show in all of the globe. Right here on YouTube. But again, shameless plug aside, let me keep on reading your chats. Salvador Sanchez, ultimate rhythm fighter. Yep, it was incredible. Again, died too soon. This brother was gonna do things on a scale we'd only seen some of the greatest of all time achieve. I hate that he died so soon, man, because he was going to be something special. Let me see. True, I honestly think Lester can compete with the best. Doesn't matter who, I agree. I just want the man to gain experience with these top contenders. Okay, I see where you're coming from. I do understand that sentiment. Crawford, his intern was Boots, if I remember right. Yeah, it was. It was. But, again, it never got forced. Now I can't remember if his mandatory was Boots before or after he moved up to 154. Or excuse me, before or after Spence. Let me rephrase that. I think it was after Spence. But after Spence, he already said I'm moving up to 175. But even still, Boots didn't get the mandatory opportunity because it wasn't activated by the sanctioning bodies. If anything, the only sanctioning body that did something was the IBF. Now, if he was mandatory for the IBF, different story. That's the guy. I'm trying to make sure I got my timeline correct for this stuff. So I do apologize if I'm all over the place. I'm trying to think real quick, like we're talking through. Let me see. I just wanted Undisputed at 168 and the guy to move ASAP to challenge 175 elites like Bivol or Better BF. But Arthur might be gone. I want a new guy to beat these two legends. It would be better for boxing. It could. Now again, I'm a little bit different. For me, I don't care how old or young you are. If you're great, people are going to want to see you. And if you can't be beat, we'll keep on winning. The best people to go and do that, for my money, Khamzat Shiraz. That's the best built cat. I don't think Lester could go to 175, even if he came undisputed, and beat those guys up there. Khamzat got the build and the physicality. He may be, even though he's not the best boxer outright, he may be the best fit for that division up there at that level. But it's there's a couple of jumps in boxing that is hard to get done. You got 115, 118, that you've seen that transition. 118 to 122, that's where the leap of, okay, it's a real different environment. That's where that begins. You go to 126, 130, and then you jump from 130 to 135. That jump specifically, 130 to 135, whole different ball game. 135, 140, but 140 to 147, that jump, whole different ball game. Then you, of course, you got 147, 154, but 54 to 60, that's kind of in that similar vein of, okay, that's a huge leap. And similarly, 68 to 75, that's a huge leap. As the weight classes get bigger, the gap between what's a huge jump, it goes from 2 to 1, but even still, it's difficult. It's hard. It's really hard to be able to move up and have the same level of success when you're trying to take on those other elite guys. Even though you are elite in this division, you may not be the same brother up there. So it's at this current stage of 168, everybody looks good here. But I don't really know who would look good outside of Shiraz definitively at 175, because of that leap. That's one of the ones that it'll shake you up. But again, just my opinion. I would love to hear your thoughts though on it. Man, I really want to see Arthur versus Canelo before they put their gloves down. Look, I'm with you. I get it. I'd want to see it, but it wouldn't be close. It wouldn't be close. Canelo, and this is not disrespect, the way that Canelo fights and the way that Arthur better be fights, I would love to see that. But Canelo's getting dog walked. Mind you, Bivol got hurt against Arthur Beterbiev and had to fight going backwards and got broken down in their first fight, and also in their second fight just about got broke down again, even though again he won. But that same track of, Beterbiev's coming. He's pushing him back. Oh, he might be in some trouble. Happened twice against Bivol. It rarely happens. That type of power and relentless pressure with a flat-footed Canelo, no movement involved, that's a bad matchup for Canelo. That's a bad matchup. No movement from Canelo, flat-footed, high guard, and head movement at its only thing. Catch and shoot against Arthur. Where again, Arthur doesn't even put his whole body into shots. It's a lot of arm punching. For him, it works out perfectly because it's similar to Sabril Matias. He don't need to do a lot to go and hurt you, so he can keep his fluidity going and still have you seeing stars while you're still on your feet. I don't think that's a good matchup for Canelo at all. I don't think that's a good matchup for Canelo at all. That's a dangerous fight, man. That's a really dangerous fight for Canelo. Let's talk about Garcia Conor Ben situation and Haney role in it. Good God, I'm telling you, I love the chats. I'm trying to make sure I can catch everybody that I can. Hold on. We're going to put a pin in this question. Let me see who else is chatting, and then we can transition into Garcia, Conor Ben, and all this that's going through, because it's a lot. Let me real quick, I'm going to read the others, and I'm going to come back to this question. Jones, just stay right here. Rhoda, Yaffe will stop Sandoval. Yaffe excels against Sandoval's type of style. I think he's going to stop him as well, so I'm with you on that. Jamel Charlo is like a Karin. Jamel Charlo is like a Karin, in terms of Karin Shugajan. He needs to know he's not the guy now. Even George Foreman, when he took 10 years break from 77 to 87, had had to fight 24 fights. Yeah, over the next 5 years to get a world title shot. Oh yeah, no, Charlo's not that guy. Now, Karin, if you talk about Karin Sugarjohn, that brother's at 147, that brother's a world championship contender. Unless I'm thinking of a different Karin. But Charlo is not Karin. Charlo has been inactive for almost 3 years. Charlo retired silently, just about, because the brother just didn't fight anymore. Both of them, crazy. Jamal Charlo retired and now he's training again. I don't know what for. I don't know who for. Jamel Charlo, speaking of which, he's already, I need to play this clip actually. He's talking about he's going to be signing with multi-fight deals with multiple fighters as a whole. And again, we're going to talk about Ryan Garcia and Conor Benn. Just give me a second to go through all these other chats because we got a lot of people talking real quick. So let me get through all these first, and then we're going to come back to that conversation. But all this kind of blends into it. Both Charlos are not at the peak of their powers. Both Charlos are not where they should be in terms of contending status. Both of them have walked away from the sport in regards to them working, them working in their job in boxing. They both took in the back seat. And so they're not at the top of the mountain. They can talk all they want. Ain't nothing shaking unless they actually want to move and put something on the dotted line. If we don't see that, I'm not buying into anything. And I do mean anything that both of them say. Because it doesn't carry any weight. It does, for me, it doesn't carry any weight at all. And speaking of Charlo, if you want to see exactly how this is going down for Charlo, I'll show you right now as we transition over to picture. Charlo's already said he's got some things on the docket in terms of Jamel Charlo. This is what he wants to do next. And we're going to see whether or not it's real or not. But I'll let him tell you on the Brian Custer show, The Last Stand. This is what he allegedly has planned for the rest of his career.
Fundora first. We'll go the Fundora route because we've been in talks with the Fundora. I'll go through Fundora first. We'll go the Fundora route because we've been in talks with the Fundora, and we working on something right now with that. And I'm working on it with PBC them. And then as well as we've been in talks with the winner of Tim Tszyu and Earl Spence. And they both verbally, all of them three guys have agreed to fight me. Earl jumped in the ring trying to fight for Sebastian Fundora, moving up from 154. And I'm in that joker like, hold on. I been said I was coming back. I been said I wanted my straps. Let me continue to train and grind. Now I'm getting frustrated. I'm grinding. I'm training. Now I'm pulling up to the fights. Now they understanding it's time to, hey, he want it back. So nobody beat me for my belts. They can all be this, that, and the third. Look, at the end of the day, I'm going to be Sebastian Fundora's biggest fight if he fights. Ennis. If Ennis get in the ring with me, if Eddie Hearns would have made a deal, this and that and the third, I'd have been Ennis's biggest fight to this day.
Give me 1 second. I'm just trying to make sure this thing's actually working like it's supposed to. Okay, it is. There you go. I'll play the rest of the clip now.
Virgil Ortiz, still to this right now. So at 154, who could beat me? None of them. But none of them calling me out. They understand that risk that you gotta take. I'm way more hungrier than I ever been, and they know that I'm not gonna talk about what I've done, or how I knock them out. I'm not gonna talk about how I beat them up or because we're gonna focus because I was just as good as my last fight, right? So I'm gonna just stick to that, and we'll move on from there.
I'm sorry. I had to take a second kind of just to process what I just heard. There's a couple things here. If you're just as good as your last fight, well, you got dog walked. You lost, sir. You lost in dramatic fashion. Not even. You laid down and you died in your last fight. You didn't even try to beat Canelo. That's not. It's been 3 years since then, and the best work we've seen you do in the ring has been pad work in the gym, and we didn't even see that until a couple of months ago. And then you say you're not going to talk about how you're going to call everybody, how you're going to beat everybody, how you're going to knock everybody out. Brother, you were doing that when you came out of your rock. That was wherever you were, under the guise of all the Canelo money. And you went and were calling every brother under the sun, retired or not. And you saying that you're going to be Boots' biggest fight, Ortiz's biggest fight. Let's make one thing clear right now. They will be your biggest fights. It's not the other way around. It's the right way around right now. They would be and will be your biggest fights in this current state that you are in your career. Why? Because you let your star power run away and roam from what it was when you was at the peak of your powers. It's a shame, but that's the truth. It will be the biggest fight for Charlo since his fight with Canelo. Not the other way around. Not the other way around. Not the other way around. This man, crazy enough, is delusional. And I don't say that in a good way. Because you got to think you can beat everybody that goes your way. I get that. But the position that you are in right now, you put yourself there. Not because, oh, you're this, that, and the third. You gave up the division. You gave up on the division because you walked away. At one point, yeah, it was because of, personal matters and all this stuff. I got that. But even when those got fixed, you still just didn't do nothing. And you're still talking the same way you were talking when you said you were coming back. And you ain't doing nothing since. Talking about something you're in talks with all these other people. Brother, until we see something happen, I don't believe you. And neither should the rest of the public. Because there's a bunch of hot air right now. And it's ridiculous. But it is what is going down. Because this brother continues to do the same stuff over and over and over. Preposterous in every sense of the word. My gosh, man. It's sick. It is sickening. And I'm just, it's frustrating. It really is. But let me see what you all got to say. I'm not asking Charles to fight 24 times. But he could have already been mandatory. Yes, with a couple of stability fights on Pro Box or any fight for that matter. Let me see. There was something else that was here. It was something else. If Shiraz wins versus Begik, I think it's Begik if I'm saying that correctly. I want to see him get his look back versus Adames first, then move to 175. That fight versus Adames, that's gonna be tough. That's gonna be tough. Because that's how he lost that fight the first time they fought against each other. But even still, that's gonna be a tough fight. Beterbiev and Bivol are bigger legends than bigger legends than Ward. I thought Andre Ward lost to Kovalev in one of their two fights. I think they fought twice. One of them I know he lost. I think Andre Ward is an incredible fighter. Comparing him to Bivol and Beterbiev, it's hard. It's hard to say. I'm going to say this. I think that Beterbiev and Bivol separated themselves more from the rest of the division than we saw Andre Ward do when he was at the top of the division. He won the Super Series, absolutely. But the length of time between there is no equal versus there's somebody there, the gap wasn't as wide as we saw with Bivol and Beterbiev. Now, you could have discussions about a couple of people with Andre Ward. Not saying that he wasn't better than them or not, but you could have more fervent discussions with more people in that realm of conversation than I was having when Bivol and Beterbiev were at this division. It was them two and nobody else. The only people that can beat them was each other. That's it. That's what it was looking like. So, I can't say for certain whether they're bigger legends, but I can say more so also because I grew up, again, I was able to be around for their primes more than I was for Andre Ward. Living in it, it feels a little bit more of a separation. The pound for pound arguments were a lot more definitive living in it with what we were seeing from B-Ball and Better BF, experiencing it live. Though I can't speak for what it was for Andre Ward, it feels like there was a little bit more de facto-ness in those conversations of who ran the world at that division. But again, that's my thoughts and opinions. I'm not saying I know everything. Be clear, just what the best I can come up with when it comes to thinking about it. He sounds so entitled, bro. You haven't fought at 154 for 4 years. Yeah, he hasn't. What has he lost since those 3-year gap? We could see another Keith Thurman. Brother, we could see another Keith Thurman. You get that, right? We could see another Keith Thurman. I don't think he really understands. He's in the danger zone. He's in it. He is in the danger zone for what we can see his career turn into. Because the same way Keith Thurman, 3 years out the ring, was talking like he was going to run the world, and then he ran into a younger, stronger, active fighter, he got dog walked. He did. Yeah, the fight was just picking up, and he finally figured out the shot to land on Fundora. But guess what? It wouldn't have mattered because he was going to get knocked out anyway. Charlo is in the same boat as Keith Thurman. You're in a volatile state, and you're going and you calling out, you ain't calling out Fundora, however. You're calling out Boots. You're calling out Ortiz. You're calling out folks that, for a lot of people, they feel are better than Fundora skill-wise, even though Fundora right now should be seen as the man to run this division. I understand that completely. Skill-wise, you're calling out better people who can be just as destructive. And you ain't ready for that. You ain't who you were at 154, and this division wasn't what it was when you were reigning at 154. It's a completely different game. It's a different ball game. It's a different field of prospect. It's a whole new tier of talent. There is nobody, and I mean nobody here within this top 10 that isn't a threat to you in a way that is even more egregious than what it was when you were at 154 previously. It's a whole different game. It's a different game. It's a different light of competition. It's a different pit of danger. It's a different fleet, or it's a different fleet of arsenal that you're going up against. It's a different fire entirely. Entirely. You're not what you were, and this division has not stayed where you are. Do you hear what I'm saying? You are not what you were as a fighter, and this division has not stayed where you are in your current landscape. You have stayed behind, and the division has gotten better. Leagues better. To a point that it looks, dare I say, unrecognizable. The amount of fervent competition, volatile sentiments, everybody's there. Even the people that you bring up, hey, look, you bring up Josh Kelly's a hit or a miss. That's fine. Josh Kelly beat Backwell. And we were calling Backwell, but everybody was saying if Charlo fought Backwell putting his head in the dirt. Just like he did with Charlo. And Josh Kelly got up from getting hurt, knocked down Backwell, and outboxed him and beat him. Even the worst of champions right now are able to beat some people that we were like, hey, that's too much firepower for you. Josh Kelly got solidified. He got validated with that win. This man, even if you want to say he's at the bottom totem pole, that totem pole is still elevated at a level that the bottom tier of competition when Charlo was fighting compared to now, it's not the same. It's not the same. And Charlo ain't the same brother. He ain't the same. He is not as good as what he was 3 years ago. He's not as good as he was when he was undisputed, unless he shows us different. He's not. I hope he is, because who wouldn't want to see? Who wouldn't want to see? Sorry, I thought I had something on my finger. Who wouldn't want to see a Charlo that's rejuvenated, that looks like the undisputed version? Oh, that'd be great. But time waits for no man, especially when you don't use it as active as you need to. Yeah, it's gonna be difficult. So he's talking a lot, but I do not believe it. I don't believe it for me. Yes, but what is he compared to other competition in the division? That's the problem. He is on the same level as Errol Spence. He's on the same level right now as Keith Thurman. He's on the same level right now as those at the bottom tier of this division, the old guard of 154. That's what he is. That's what he is. In fact, we can go. I can bring up the list. I ain't got no. I can bring up the list, and we can walk through, have a conversation as to who, in fact, Charlo is or is not on the level of. I've said for months, ever since Spence said he was coming back, he's on Spence's level. He's on Keith Thurman's level. The old regime, that's where he belongs in the framework of boxing. That's about it. Not much. He ain't much higher. Because he ain't on Sebastian Fundora's level. He ain't on Virgil Ortiz's level. He's not on. I don't think he's on Josh Kelly's level right now until he shows me his skill set is still holding true. He's not on Zaire Zayas' level right now. Brandon Adams is, again, brother who just beat Boachuk for the second time in a row. Outboxed him. I think he's not on that level. Madrimov, he's not beating Madrimov right now. Especially a Madrimov that still is slick, but is adapting his style similar to what we saw with Arizona Lara, being more flat-footed, using his physicality and power, being more stationary to land some more heavy leather. I don't think he's better than him. Boots Ennis, get out of here. You're going to die if you fight against him. A boss? Okay, you want to put a boss in that tier? Fine. We'll put him on the level of a boss. Even the boss, I'm like, with the war of attrition he's able to give with like Zaire Zayas, I'm thinking, hey man, he can still he can beat him. Boachuk, not Boachuk, but Buckwam, excuse me. We don't know if Charlo can still use his feet in the way that he used to. So if he gets into a firefight with Buckwam where he's still using his jab, which can still be a good jab, but he ain't able to get out the way and get out of dodge and avoid the competition that's coming his way. And Buckwam is able to walk him down, well, that can get dangerous. And then you got the Pavel, 12-0, 6 KOs. And then, of course, Thurman, Spence. And I think Charlo is around that set of competition. That's me. But everybody he's calling out, I don't think he's built for. Everybody he's calling out right now, I don't think he's built for. That's me. You can see the list right here. I can go through top 10, but there's more to it. But I don't know. I'm wary. I'll say that. I am definitely very wary of his ability to compete at the level of championship caliber that we say he can still belong in. I think 50-50. Tim Tszyu versus Charlo. Oh, excuse me. I think Tim Tszyu versus Charlo is 50-50. That says it all. And at this point in time, for where Charlo's talking about, yeah, it's where he belongs. Tim Tszyu, if he beats them, we can eke him up. That's my whole thing. Beat the people that you are currently slated to be around. This is your categorized skill level. You beat them, we can elevate you up and we can say, okay, you can't be a threat to X, Y, Z. I just don't see it. Because I don't even think he's above that. I don't think he's above that. Let me see. Josh Kelly got stopped by Avanesian. He did. Charlo has a chance. It's not the chance. It is how much can he take advantage of said chance. Because I don't think Charlo's the same fighter, I don't think that even though a vulnerable Josh Kelly is still can be in his wheelhouse. it is not something that I trust Charlo to be able to go and take advantage of and be able to beat. And that is a championship caliber level. So I don't see him there. 154 versus 168, which is deeper? 154. 150. No question about that. 154, absolutely. No, absolutely. Not a doubt in my mind. 154 is a deeper division. It's a way deeper division than 168. 168 is top heavy. 154, the 10th brother can potentially upset the 5th guy. Legitimately, not just because, anybody can win. Nah. You go through 1 through 8, you still in the thick of it. Old and new nigga. It's a dangerous world out there. It's a dangerous world. I don't think Josh Kelly has the validation because no one's talking about him like he's a threat. Okay. I see what you're saying. Validation for Josh Kelly was everybody thought Bakwan would knock him out. Easy title. And he ended up knocking him down and beating him and outboxing him. And taking his power, he got hurt and still was able to win the fight. That was impressive to me. Especially with what Josh Kelly was seen as coming into this competitive nature of 154, didn't nobody care. Now, I'm not saying Bakwan is on the same level as Boots and others. He's not. But as a talent, okay, this brother can really box. And he got heart that I didn't think he had. That's why I say he's validated in that vein. He's a real fighter. Now, global recognition, yeah, it's going to take a lot more. That type of, everybody thinks him as a threat. Yeah, no, he ain't going to be seen as, Ortiz better watch out. Fundora better watch out. He ain't going to be that. But he is at a stage where, like we've seen with other fighters, he is a good fighter that is overshadowed. I'm not calling it the best of the best, but ignoring the win that Bakram is for Josh Kelly would be a disservice, understanding what we were saying Bakram was going into that fight. And with that, following that logic, but Kelly is a real fighter who can, though he's of the bottom tier of the elite status, he still is somebody that everybody can't just walk through. I can say that for me. You ain't got to feel that way. I'm saying that for me. That's why I say for me, he's stamped. But for the globe, yeah, everybody ain't going to be talking about him. He's going to need a couple more wins to get people saying, okay, hey, wait a minute, now hold up. This but is a problem. But again, we've seen fighters who are good that are actually problems that don't get talked about. Dalton Smith was a problem before he beat Matias. But Matias got people talking. But he was a good fighter beforehand. I think that's the same thing for Josh Kelly. Even though there are better people in this division than him, yes, I still believe the brother still, I think he's real. He's just not real like up here, but he's a real guy. He's a real guy. Let me see. Adames, I think Olage, Rescindes, Plant, Berlanga, Shiraz, Canelo, Mbili, Lester, Jacob Bank, William Skull. It's good. Don't get me wrong, it's good. And it recently, it got up there. Because Adames just got there. Olage has been there, but they're still, I think he's a real threat, but some people still want to see some more of him. Like we said, we had some people in the chat say they weren't impressed. Rescindes, his biggest win at this point in time is Caleb Plant. Caleb Plant, he's a name, but we don't see him as in that competitive fervor. Oh gosh, that's a contender. Not anymore. Berlanga, everybody sees him as a fraud for a lot of different situations, for a lot of different reasons. Shiraz, that's real. Canelo, that's real. Mbili, that's real. Lester, that's real. Munguia, people aren't sold. I'm not even sold on Munguia right now. I think Rescindes will beat Munguia because of the fact that Munguia, after Canelo, coming at the 168, got knocked out by Bruno Saras. He beat him the second time, but then popped dirty. Don't forget that he popped. Hey, the brother was on drugs. I believe he got. No, I can't remember if he got proven. I can't remember if he got proven false or true, but he did get a false drug test a positive drug test, in his system. So that put a lot of people kind of ruffle feathers in the wrong way. And then William Skull, nobody likes William Skull. There are names there, but most of these names are names. It's going to sound bad because a lot of them fought Canelo. Like Plant, Berlanga, Munguia, and Skull. Half the list is only notable. Though Plant had a little bit better reputation at that point in time. But you fought Canelo. But after that, it's been kind of up and down for a lot of people. 154, everybody got their own name in some way, shape, or form. They got stories intertwined in their own identity, not in the identity of others. And if it is, it's because it's a rivalry. But we went tooth and nail. Lester and Billy went tooth and nail. Shiraz and Carlos Diamonds, they went tooth and nail with a broken hand. You see what I'm saying? Adams, Boachuk, they fought twice already. We got Bakwan beat Tim Sue. Came on the scene. Then Josh Kelly beat him. Now he's on the scene for some people as, hey, this brother might be better than we thought. Zayas beat a boss on his own merit. I think his name is, am I saying that right? Let me make sure I'm saying, yeah. Zayas beat a boss, then got another belt. Before that, now he's fighting Boots Ennis. Boots was his name on his own without having to fight anybody. And so a lot of these names are self-contained because they themselves are the threat, not because you faced off against Canelo. And now that's where we know everything about you type of situation. And on their own merit, each of them can beat each other in a way more definitive claim than what we see with the actual contenders of the top heavy division that I see as 168. It's not bad. It's gotten better. I just think that 154 is deeper, in my opinion. In my opinion. But let me see. I do want to make sure that we get back to that we do talk about Conor Ben before we get out of here. We're at 2 hours, 30 minutes. Normally we go 2:30, 2:45. We ain't trying to go 3 hours now. We'll be clear on that. Hey, we gotta have some level of decorum as we're here. It's still the championship rounds. We still want to hear from you. You can still support the show. Cash App, PayPal, links down below. Super chats and good super gift stickers and the like. We love you. We appreciate you. We want you to see what we got going on. But be sure that keep on posting your chats, posting your comments, posting your questions, and making sure that the public can see exactly what we got going on and let the world know about this show. No question about it. But as we're still going through, let me keep on reading your thoughts and discussions. Same thing with Azim. He's a problem. People won't talk about him. Yep, they won't talk about him yet. Yeah, I get what you're saying, but 160 is dog. Yeah, no, 160, it got gutted. Without Janibek, that division got gutted. And the only fight up there was Janibek versus Lara. And now, it's not happening anymore. Because Janibek popped. He may be moving up to 168. So we're going to see how that goes. 168 is getting better. But it's not to the depth of 154 just yet. But it's getting there. Because a lot of people are moving up and moving out. Which, very exciting. We love to see it. But let me go back to your question, Cho, that you had about Garcia. I wasn't trying to avoid it. We just had a lot of people coming through and discussing things. Let's talk about Garcia, Conor Ben situation, and Haney's role in all of this. Now, the Haney role, a little bit separate. Strictly with the Ryan Garcia Conor Ben situation, we can discuss that on its own. Conor Ben, Ryan Garcia, looks like they want to fight each other. Hey, aren't you happy? Some people are excited. Some people ain't. Who knows how some people feel? All I know is, one thing's for sure, the trash talk will be insane. The trash talk will be phenomenal. I guarantee you, it will be incredible. But beyond the trash talk, the fight itself, Ryan Garcia should steamroll Conor Ben. And it would be a fun fight for a knockout type endeavor. However, let's also look at the other side of the equation. Conor Ben signed with Zuffa. How in the world is it going to work? Ryan Garcia said he wants to fight, sure. But at this point in time, and I can look it up myself, who in the world is Ryan Garcia signed with currently in the regime of boxing. Let me look it up real quick. Ryan Garcia signed with who? Who is Ryan Garcia signed with? Golden Boy. Now, is he still with Golden Boy? That's the question. And I can look at this. We're doing some live reporting right now. Is Ryan Garcia still with Golden Boy? Is he with Golden Boy or is he a free agent? Okay, yeah. So currently, he's still signed under Golden Boy Promotions at this point in time. Golden Boy wants nothing to do with Zuffa Boxing. Not one iota. A thing to do with Zuffa. Not a thing. Though Conor Benn and Ryan Garcia, they want to fight. How is this going to work when the WBC champion in Ryan Garcia, who signed with Golden Boy, potentially puts his title on the line at 147, going up against Conor Benn, who signed with Zuffa? I don't know how that works. I'm confused on how that works. I don't know if it's possible. I don't. I don't. Because the powers that be, in respect to Dana White, Golden Boy, I don't even know if they can sit at a table with each other, let alone negotiate properly. And then the WBC, do they want to be attached to Zuffa? And if Zuffa gives a belt also for this fight and tries to make Ryan Garcia hold them both, like they did with Jai Apatai, well, then how in the world is it going to be that the WBC will accept that? Do they even want to be associated with Zuffa Boxing and the Zuffa belt as it's equal to ours? I don't know. So it's confusing. It's a lot of questions. I'm not sure whether or not it's going to work or not between the two, but let me see what you all's responses are. Conor doesn't look that good, to be honest, and Ryan is more unpredictable than the lottery. Well, yeah, Conor Benn went tooth and he won the fight. He was a better fighter, but he went tooth and nail with Regis Prograis, who was injured on the night of the fight. So you doggone right, I'm not sure if we should see. Conor Benn's never been elite, and so we shouldn't see him as a big threat. So I'm not sure it's going to be competitive, if we're going to be completely honest. Especially if Garcia fights like he fought against Barrios with two healthy hands. Yeah, it's not going to be close in my opinion. It's going to be a fun time, but it ain't going to be close. Especially with all lack of power at 154 or at 147, excuse me. Since he stopped eating eggs to give himself essentially his own version of Popeye power. Eat your spinach for Popeye. Eat your eggs for Conor Benn. You can put anybody to sleep with one fell swoop. You got pistons in your biceps. Your tattoos are moving. That's what it was up until he stopped eating the spinach or taking the PEDs or eating the eggs. All is code for he popped and he's never been the same. So, I don't think it's going to be close. I don't think it's going to be fun, but it ain't going to be close. Though I still want Ryan Garcia not to fight so we can have him hold on to his belt and get the fight with Devin Haney, which that fight should have already been happening in September. Fight should have already been scheduled for September right now. We should be building up for that directly after Haney versus not Haney. We should be building up to Haney versus Garcia directly after Benavidez versus Zerto and Inoue versus Nakatani. That should be the next build up to the biggest fight in boxing. Without question. I don't know why it's not happening already. Let me see. There is a high chance of Ryan getting clipped. It's a high chance he can get clipped. It won't faze him though, because Conor Benn ain't got power without the PEDs. Yes, he knocked down Eubanks and had a fight of the year. I'm not denying that. But the second time he caught Eubanks and hurt him and knocked him down, Eubanks was clearly weight drained to Kingdom Come. Clearly. Struggling to make weight. Look completely different. Doesn't take away from the win. But the effects of said punches, when he's faced off against somebody healthily, it's not the same pop at all. It just ain't. So I'm not concerned about Ryan Garcia getting caught. This ain't Rolly Romero. I can say this ain't that type of power. This ain't that. I'm not worried about that at all. And speed-wise, Conor Ben is fast, absolutely. Ryan Garcia clears him, and he's a better boxer. He is. Ryan Corner double KOs is the best. Ryan Corner double KO is the best outcome possible. Ryan Corner, I think Ryan Garcia's corner with double knockout. They both get put to sleep. My God, y'all be insane. Imagine Ben comes on Austrian and overweight against Ryan. The fluke drops him. That'd be funny. Hey, man. If Conor Ben gets away with, if Conor Ben pulls a Ryan Garcia on Ryan Garcia, I tell you, that would be ironic justice for a lot of people. That would be ironic justice. Conor Ben gets on Austrian right before the fight and doesn't pop until afterwards and knocks him down. And all of a sudden, oh my gosh, you got to test your own medicine. How's it feel? Now, boy. Hey, and the fight doesn't get turned over. It still can, and the fight still counts. Oh gosh. That happens and he doesn't get turned over into a no contest. Brother, that would be I'm sorry. It would be wrong. But that would be one of the funniest things that can happen. Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh, if that took place. That'd be hilarious. That would be, if that did happen. But it gets dropped. Gets dribbled off the canvas same way that he did Devin Haney. Conor Ben's on top of the world. Conor Ben pops and he gets fined, sure. But the win still counts. Craziest thing you could be able to see. My gosh, that would be ridiculous. Let me see. Won't it be on ring like Conor first fight? Had nothing to do with Zuffa. Well, see, that's where and that's where the question comes into play. That's where things get tricky. That's where things get really tricky, because that fight, you would think it would be in the ring or on the ring, but again, you got three players in this whole scenario. You have Oscar De La Hoya and Golden Boy. You have TKO, The Ring, and Turkey Al Sheik. And then you have Zuffa and Dana White. TKO and, what did I say? I said Ryan Garcia. Excuse me. Let me rephrase the triangle. Ring Magazine at the top. Golden Boy, Oscar De La Hoya on one end. Zuffa on this end. TKO and Zuffa, they want to work together. Zuffa is a part of the whole TKO regime. TKO, and to a degree Turkey Al Sheik, funded money for this thing to work. Supposed to be a development league to elevate you into the real world contender status. But now they've signed people that are already on world contending status. Jaya Patai, Conor Ben, Richardson Hitchens, Edgar Berlanga as some of the names. Now, though they are all TKO and Zuffa on the same plane, Golden Boy is with TKO because they've done Ring Magazine events. Turkey Al Sheik, The Ring, which is under TKO. So, Golden Boy, TKO, they got a connection. TKO, Zuffa, they got a connection. Golden Boy, Zuffa, they don't want nothing to do with each other. More specifically, Golden Boy wants nothing to do with Zuffa. Zuffa, wants Golden Boy to rock with them. Because if they do, Zuffa gets credibility. And their belt becomes real to a lot of people. Because that's a big player dealing with a small player. That's the dynamic that we're working with. There's connections, but everything isn't synergy. Tony Khan, for example, who is part owner WWE or is over WWE, who is also under TKO. Tony Khan is a part of that TKO board-esque membership. Tony Khan just argued for the Ali Act. Revival Act, excuse me. Why changes should happen. Oscar De La Hoya, that same meeting, went and talked about being against the Ali Revival Act. Golden Boy and Zuffa couldn't be on two opposite ends of the spectrum. So making that fight is not as easy as just, hey, we've seen Ryan and Conor Ben fight on stuff before, like Netflix. But you also got to understand, if Netflix and The Ring have a partnership, Netflix and TKO has a partnership because Netflix also does WWE. We've seen this. We know this. Them Canelo versus Crawford, Netflix, ring event. Fury versus Makhmudov, ring event. TKO. Entwined. All under the same house. This is a different house that while they worked with the Ring, they don't want to work with Zuffa. So, can we get De La Hoya to want to play nice with Zuffa and make a fight where both of them are on the same card with the same advertised as both hosting this event? Because that gives credibility. And now that makes Dana White and Zuffa on the same playing field as Oscar De La Hoya, Eddie Hearn. And we've seen the beef that everybody's got right now as a promoter against Dana White. So you got interpersonal relationships that are at play that are making this fight harder to make. You got financial stuff that's at play to make stuff harder to make. You got A-side, B-side conversations because Golden Boy feels like Zuffa is the B-side. Why should we even associate with you? And we got bigger stars than you. The world are we even trying to make this happen? So they feel like they're being disrespected by even being put in the same vicinity. And so it's so much more than just won't it be under the ring. It'll be there. But it also ain't gonna be there. Because it's still whose house is it? To quote Swerve Strickland, AEW, again, wrestling, I got references for days. Whose house is this? Who's running this show? Who's in control of this is my domain? And if Dana White gets any sort of co-signing of any framework, we'll work with you to make something shake. Well, that gives Dana White the power, leverage, and ability to say, I'm just like you, that every other promotional company, though they're working with the Ring magazine, doesn't want to give him, in terms of Dana White and Zuffa, and doesn't want to give their title the validity to say this is worth something. Because I guarantee you, it's not just going to be the WBC title. It's not just going to be that. They're going to try to put their own belt on the line as well and say, hey, you are also the Zuffa champion. They're going to try to do that for whoever wins that fight, to give their organization and their stable a level of respect. So it's not easy, though you would think it could be easy. It's egos at play, money at play, power at play. It's a chess match right now. Who's gonna give in first? So if Conor Ben wasn't signed with Zuffa for a multi-fight deal, we probably get a whole lot more consistent momentum saying this fight's gonna happen. But at this point in time, currently, yeah, it feels a little bit shaky. At least to me, it feels a little bit shaky to see how all this goes down. But let me see. Imagine Ryan decided to sue Zuffa and Conor McGregor. Good gosh, Lord. Again, it would just be a reverse of everything that we saw Devin Haney go through. Devin Haney will be validated. In fact, if that happens, there may not be a need for a rematch. Because all of a sudden, he got to take his own medicine. Well, he got his comeuppance. Honestly, I don't want that to happen. Because I want that rematch to have all the sting of the past so we get an even more fervent fight the next time out. But that's just me. But even still, we gotta go. We gotta get ready to get out of here. We don't want to go over 3 hours. So is there anything anybody else wants to say on the day? Any other questions, comments, and concerns as we delve into the last call? That's right. We in round 12, y'all. It's round 12. Last call for any questions, comments, and concerns involving the world of boxing and beyond as we go through this landscape of the sports world. As we know, you want to talk about the NBA? We can discuss it. We got LeBron going up 2-0 on the Rockets. We got Victor Wembanyama getting concussed and is out for game 3 up against, who they playing? I forgot who they were playing the last time. They're out in the first round of the playoffs. Let me pull it up real quick so I can actually get everything up to snuff. So we can call these, we can give you the insight into as much stuff as possible as we do a quick blitz in the landscape of boxing. Yeah, he's out for Portland in game 3, at least as of right now, unless something changed. And I believe they lost the last game because of that concussion by Wemby. That can be a big effect on the matter. Can Houston and KD get their stuff together with them losing to a Luka-less Lakers? And the Austin Reeves-less Lakers. Nothing but LeBron. And I believe, if I got my sources correctly, it's sounding like Reeves is coming back in the lineup. Unless I'm wrong. And if that does happen, oh my gosh. That shakes up a whole host of sentiments for what the NBA, for what this series can be. And the league, you also got the Magic going through and essentially having their way with Detroit in their last game as they've, I believe, tied the series up 1-1. They might be actually up 2-0. Let me actually check the bracket real quick to see exactly what's going down. Like I said, we cover everything. We cover the NBA, we cover the NFL, we cover boxing. We can do it all. We're just primarily a boxing show. But we're just giving you a last call to see whatever you want to discuss and talk about. And most likely, the more NBA stuff we'll be able to discuss on Tuesday, because we'll actually have a carved out segment for said endeavors. But anything you all wanted to see and talk about, we can discuss it right here on the show. Let me see. Wagner, I think that first Cleveland Golden State Finals was the best ball we've ever seen play. What about you? So, for me, that was one of the best final series I've ever seen. No question. As a entire segment, yeah, it was something to behold. OKC versus the Pacers before Halliburton got hurt. Brother, that series was looking like it was going to be something spectacular. That was going to be one for the history books. Capping off one of the greatest playoff runs we had ever seen a team go through, led by game winners of plenty by Halliburton, Nembhard, Neesmith. Everybody on that Pacers squad was insane. That run and that series was looking like it was going to be something incredible. If that game 7 ended, even if the Patriots had lost with everybody healthy, that would have been phenomenal. But yeah, I think that series, yeah, that's the greatest series we've seen in basketball. One of the greatest individual performances we've seen by LeBron outright was in 2016 and 2018. When again, he went on a tear and averaged a triple-double against that Golden State series. You also got Dirk. His performance in that run against the Miami Heat, one of the best we've seen. There's another one. There's another series I'm thinking of. Which one is it? That gives one of the best straight up basketball sentiments of quality that we've seen. Oh, I remember now. 2014. That Spurs team in 2014 that beat LeBron in Miami played some of the best basketball I have ever witnessed in the history of this sport. Without a doubt. That Spurs squad, with still an old Tim Duncan, old Monty Ginobili, old Tony Parker, a young Kawhi Leonard that was just coming off of, I believe, a breakout season. Boris Diaw, I think Thiago Splitter was still on that team. And it was just, that was the most beautiful brand of basketball I had ever witnessed in the history of this sport. Bar none. By an individual team. But as a series, yeah, Golden State 2016, that still takes the cake. For me, that still takes the cake. Let me see. Senior champ, good stretch. Hey, look, if you got to go, we're going to appreciate it. Like I said, this is just the last call, so we can make sure we wrap up this show, but we still want to hear from you. If you got to leave, though, we appreciate you joining in on the live. But let me see. Wagner, I was speaking on Braun's performance specifically, but all great examples of great series. Oh, okay, yeah. Braun's performance specifically, 2016 and 2018 are the two best he's ever had. That's the two best he's ever had. In my opinion. 2015, I think, is a close third when he took the Golden State Warriors to 6 when Kyrie and Kevin Love got hurt. But that's third. Second is, it's 2018. Now, I hate to say it, because that's when he put up 51 points a game. 51, 8, and 8. On almost 60% from the field. 50% from three nearly 40, or about 40% from three that game. And 2 blocks in the steal, I believe, if I got my stats correctly. He averaged, again, 35, 10, and 10. That series against Golden State. Individually, that was the best LeBron James we have ever seen, in my opinion. And if you want to say that's the best series he's ever had, no question, even though he got beat. He outplayed KD by a mile and still lost because Golden State was just too stacked. But if Golden State doesn't get Kevin Durant, there's a conversation. He might be able to win that series. Even with Clay, Dre, and Steph still there. Let alone if Kyrie Irving actually stayed in Cleveland and not left for Boston. And the roster didn't get gutted because Isaiah Thomas was injured and they traded for him because they needed to get something for Kyrie. And then that didn't work out. So they let go of Isaiah Thomas, got Dwayne Wade, got Derrick Rose, had a cacophony of rotational pieces, and still got to the finals. My goodness. Imagine they had some stability for the whole series, for the entire season. And a second star that was there for Braun. Lord knows what could have happened. There's a lot of different things with history. Again, it's one of the greatest what ifs we've seen. This ain't glaze, be clear. This ain't fandom. We're speaking facts as to what he went through and what was going on at that point in time. There's a lot of questions at hand. But individual series is either 2016 or 2018. If you pick 2018, yeah, I ain't got no problem. Because what he did there individually is something insane. But he won against in 2016. And coming back from 3-1, I think that was preposterous. Even playing field going up against some, or relatively more even playing field, but going up against a 73-9 team that washed everybody, even like the Spurs, who had, I think, the most home wins we'd ever seen in, I think it'd be a history. I think they were undefeated at home. They never lost at home the entire season. Or they maybe lost once. Yeah, broken the record. And they were still better than that. They beat OKC in 7, I believe, with KD and Westbrook, even though KD wet the bed in that series. I think Westbrook didn't play as great either, but still took them to 7. And you could have beat them, but you lost. But they went through all that, still won. And you beat that squad that beat the Bulls' best record in NBA history at the peak of the changing of the guard in the NBA zeitgeist of what basketball is going to look like, with Steph winning, I believe, unanimous MVP that year. That's hard. That's hard. That's hard. That's hard to go over. Let me see. Yeah, but Braun hate is weird. I remember his rookie year and Nike Witness campaign. Nobody had ever had that level of pressure and delivered. The only person that had that level of pressure relatively close was Zion in the modern day when he was coming out of college. When everybody was saying, my God, this brother's got everything you need to be great. And he looked like it. Now, he didn't live up to it, but he still got a career to go. But we understand. That's the closest modern day I've seen of everybody is only paying attention to him. The rest of the draft class got lost in translation because of Zion's existence, even with Ja Morant there. And so it's like, that's the closest. But the weight of after Jordan, with Kobe already in the league and then started coming to his own, or the prime was coming through. Now, you got to go and live up to that. But one of his campaigns was Bird, MJ, Kareem, LeBron. That was literally a package that they had that was leading into a high school championship game that aired on ESPN at one of the peaks of ESPN's tenure when they were actually leading the worldwide leader in sports. When everybody paid attention in a way that we don't see in the same fervent nature like we see now. Yeah, it's different. Nobody's been in that much pressure. And he has dealt with things. And again, this is not me trying to glaze. Be clear. If you think George is the greatest, no problem. You think Kobe's the greatest, no problem. We can debate till the cows come home. I feel that LeBron is the greatest player I've ever seen. And the greatest player that we've seen in basketball. Somebody will pass him. Just like we were saying, nobody's going to pass Jordan. Somebody at least got close to, for a lot of people, for me, passed Jordan. Some people said Kareem would never be passed. And then Jordan came along. Before Kareem, it was Bill Russell. In my opinion, it should have been Wilt Chamberlain. Though Bill had the titles, the player that ran that era in terms of individual talent, yeah, it was Wilt. To put it into perspective, Wilt averaged 100 points a game. The same season that he got 100 points a game, he averaged 50 and 25 that year. And Wilt didn't get MVP that season. Mind you, yes, Bill Russell won as one of the greatest leaders and players we've ever seen. But as an individual player, no, Wilt Chamberlain was better. He was. He absolutely was. He just didn't have 5 Hall of Famers. Like Bob Cousy, John Havlicek, Bill Russell himself. I think one more time, I think at one point in time, the whole starting 5 was in the Hall of Fame. Havlicek was averaging 27 and 8. They had point guard play, they had center play, they had everything. They were the best team outright, though it was only a 12-team league at that point in time. So all the talent was really consolidated at the top. It doesn't take away from what he did. No, he won. He was the reason why they won. He is the greatest winner that we have in basketball and arguably in sports history. There is no disrespect to Bill Russell. One of the greatest defensive players we have ever seen grace this sport even to this day. Was a coach while he was a player and kept on winning titles. As a coach alone, kept on winning titles still. But as a dog, he's a dog. But I feel Wilt Chamberlain was just a better player. But I'm using these examples because everybody that felt couldn't be beat got beat. Connie Hawkins is the guy that Dr. J models his game after. People felt that Dr. J, or people that at one point in time, Connie Hawkins couldn't be beat. That was the best player people had seen. Then Dr. J came along. And then Dr. J was the best player in the league. He was voted the best player in ABA history by ABA players when that league merged with the NBA. 3-time champion in ABA. Oh, excuse me, a 2-time champion in ABA. Multi-time MVP in the ABA. 1-time champion in the NBA. Came into this league. Got to the finals off rip. And while Bird and Magic were still around in their prime dynasties, he got a title with Moses Malone. And before that, they were touting him. This cat runs the league, runs the NBA, runs basketball as a whole. Who can be better? And then Magic came along. And then that's the guy. And then you see what I'm saying? There's always going to be somebody that will come up and beat him. There will be somebody that will come up and be the best of somebody else. It's just a matter of, and this isn't me throwing shots, will the older nostalgia of a player cloud your ability to be unbiased in what is actually going on? That's the thing. That's a struggle for a lot of people. It's not about devaluing the older generations of basketball, but it's about not letting the evolution of the game make you hardened in your mind to see what we're witnessing in history now and be able to say, you know what? This is, at this point, the best that we got. No matter what side of the argument you have, even if you don't agree and you still hold something, don't bash what we see now when objectively we are at a point in time where stuff is way more skillful than what the past eras were. Not saying that the people that were great aren't still great, they are. But when the competition elevates and you in that elevated competition are still able to come up and look at your peak head and shoulders above the rest, well, that speaks to something. It has to. Because if it doesn't, it means something. Let me see. We have to detach ourselves at times and be honest about situations. That's all I'm saying. And there's plenty of ways you can still argue that somebody is still better than somebody from a newer age, like LeBron or Kobe or whoever. Doesn't matter. You can have, there's a way to have these arguments without tearing down everything that we see in the modern day game. That's the problem. You can call out issues of today's game, and it's true, but you can also call out stuff of the past. But people don't like that. It's context. Context. That's all we're asking for. Context is everything. Context is everything. But anyway, oh gosh, we almost had 3 hours. Yeah, okay, we passed 3 hours. Yeah, we got to get out of here. Okay, this will be the last point, and then we're going to go and end off this show. I'm a Bud fan, but I don't know if he beats Roy at 160 or at 147. And see, this is where these arguments would work, or this is where the context would apply. Bud is not beating Roy Jones Jr. at 160. I guarantee you. At 147, he has a better shot because the prime of Roy was 154, 160, 168. And again, all the way up to heavyweight. But within that 160 to 168 range, there's nobody on the planet that I say they can touch Roy Jones Jr. outside of maybe Sugar Ray Robinson. As a talent, I've said that's the most talented brother I've ever seen since Sugar Ray. Without equal. There hasn't been somebody that's come close to that. Boots is Roy Jones-esque. That means he's got a semblance, a silhouette. It's not him. That's not shade. I'm just saying, if you watch him, it's a different game. Crawford is great with his own style. He doesn't fight like Roy. But Crawford's skills against Roy's skills at their peak, Roy is one of the 10 best fighters I've ever seen. Crawford is one of the 10 best fighters I've ever seen. Roy Jones Jr. is in my top 5. Terrence Crawford's in my top 10. There's a difference. There is a difference. In my opinion, there's a difference. There's a difference. It's not bad, but there's just a difference. And yeah, at 147, we got a better argument. But at 160, nah, there's no shot that Crawford beats Roy. And that's with me knowing Crawford's one of the most adaptable and undefinable fighters where you can't catch him in the corner. And one of the smartest fighters we've ever seen from a instinctual standpoint. Teddy Atlas said himself, Crawford's one of the most instinctual fighters he's ever seen in the boxing world. He's trained everybody. He's trained everybody. And he's trained fighters that have fought against everybody. And he said that. He watched Ali. He watched some of these greats from the time that they were in their stuff to their prime, and then trained folks like Tyson, who were also had helped him grow, and then had to face off against Susquehanna, even though it was out, Teddy Atlas in his corner. Watch the unfolding of the division with Riddick Bowe, Lennox Lewis, Evander Holyfield, George Foreman the second time out. Saw Joe Frazier. Craig that was old enough to actually remember, or at least know, closer to the likes of Joe Louis, George D. Walcott. He's a historian. And that brother, he recognized, it's a different game. It's a different game. And so I would say so as well. But either way, we got to go. We got to get out of here. I enjoy you all being here. And hey, with all that being said, we're going to wrap the show up and send it home. So ladies and gentlemen, this has been another episode of The Watch Up with me, your host, Jean-Luc Welch. We thank you all so much for tuning in and listening to the show. We did go long. We do apologize for that, but we do want to make sure that we give you all the support and love and the best show possible. And hey, we appreciate all of you tuning in and joining us on the live for today. It's been a pleasure dealing with you all and having you all here for our show. We can't wait to be a part of your world come next week. We got so much more stuff in store to talk about in the framework of boxing and beyond. Thank you to everybody who chatted and tuned into the show. Y'all were spectacular. Take a bow for all of you being a part of our stream. Once again, if you want to support the channel, we got Cash App, PayPal, links down below in the description, as well as super chats, super gifts, stickers, and the like. If you can support the show, it would mean the world to me. Helps us to pay the bills and helps us to go through and make the show bigger, better, and stronger, all for your viewing and listening pleasure. We thank you so much for tuning in. We love you all and we appreciate you. Thank you to everybody who chatted on our show. We can't wait to see you all on next Tuesday. I don't believe there's a fight going on this weekend, so I think I can rest and have some time to get ready for next week. But hey, we're going to have some fun. We're going to have a lot of enjoyable time on Tuesday. Be sure to hit the hype button on the video when it turns into its own video on the channel. Helps us even further push this show out to the world across the landscapes. And once again, if you can't support the show, it would mean the world to me. But I have been Jean-Luc Welch, and you all have been absolutely spectacular. We love you, we appreciate you, and we can't wait to see you all next time. Oh, we got to do our top 5 chatters for the show as per the bottom of the screen. So number 5 right now, number 1 is Burr. I need a Burr. Hey, brother. Most active on stream today. Congratulations. We appreciate you here. Number 1 was Burr. Number 2 was Chone 03 or 089. Number 3 was Amen Rhoda in the top 3 for the chatters on our show. Number 4 was Wagner coming in as the 4th top chatter on our show. And number 5, who's number 5? Who's number 5? Is there number 5? Is there no number 5? I'm surprised. Wait, hold on. Hold on. Wait a minute. Let's delve into the archives. Let's delve into it. Top 5 chatter for today is. There we go. Amen Rhoda. That's what it was. That's one of the names that were missing. My apologies. I don't know. No, it's not Amen Rhoda. It's only show. Wait a minute. No, he's second. He's third. Jones second. Burr's first. Wagner's fourth. Who the word is fifth? Well, the list got cut off. Well, you know what that means. The Ring magazine is faulty. So, with all that being said, we're still gonna wrap this show up. And hey, have your rankings for yourself, and we're gonna get this right. Come next week. But look, I've been Jean-Luc Welch. Y'all have been absolutely wonderful. Peace and love. Oh, we are out of here. Yes, sir. We are going to see you all next week. Have a phenomenal afternoon. We can't wait to see you. Keep on telling people about the show. And hey, we're going to see you all next time. Peace and love. Salute to you. Be safe. Be blessed. And we out of here. Can't wait to see y'all next week and enjoy the rest of your weekend.